So the ratings are in for cable news last night. I don't really, folks, like to make a big deal of these because you live by the ratings, you die by them, and we have ratings insurance. But it was a really good night for the Sean Hannity show at Fox News in general. The Beto O'Rourke Town Hall didn't even rate as much as CNN usually gets. It was a bomb. Did I say that? It was certainly nothing to write to your mom about. And Maggie Haberman, New York Times, thinks that Trump is behind the caravan from Honduras. That Trump is the guy making all this happen. Don't you love? We'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of someone getting away with a crime.
Snitches get stitches! Narc 5-0!
In times like these, reporting a crime or helping the police can be a tough decision. A no-snitching culture has sprung up in our communities, making it unpopular and sometimes even dangerous to report a crime. Reporting a crime is not snitching. It's the right thing to do. We must all do the right thing by helping each other to report a crime. You can remain anonymous when calling 911 or texting a tip line. Crime hurts all of us, and it hurts us more when we're afraid to report it. If you're a victim of a crime, report it. If you see someone become the victim of a crime, report it. Encourage others to report it. There is strength in numbers. Reporting a crime can mean fewer victims. Take back our neighborhoods and communities from criminals and gangs. To learn more on how to do the right thing, visit ncpc.org or contact your local law enforcement agency.
A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Gary Rima, the voice of the University of Northern Iowa Panthers, and this is the home for Panther Sports, the voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
A new charge of election meddling. Lisa Brady, Fox News. The Justice Department just announcing charges against a Russian woman accused with interfering in U.S. elections this year, believed to be the first federal case claiming Russian meddling in the midterms. This as U.S. intelligence agencies warn of efforts by several countries, also including China and Iran, to try and influence U.S. voters and policy. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo visiting Mexico City, working on ways to address the latest immigrant caravan heading for the U.S. border.
We have to all keep in context that this problem has enormous implications for the opioid epidemic in the United States, which President Trump has declared a national emergency. His fight against it has both a domestic and international component.
Mexico is asking the UN to help process asylum claims. A short time ago, migrants were knocking down gates along Mexico's border with Guatemala. The University of Southern California could settle a class action lawsuit accusing a former university doctor of sexual abuse. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, live in L.A.
Lisa, USC says $215 million is meant to cover everyone in a federal class action case, including those who were simply patients of Dr. George Tyndall. More money will go to those who claim actual abuse happened, but others have filed claims in state court. Hundreds of women say he abused or sexually harassed them during exams. USC received complaints for years, but nothing was ever done until last year when Tyndall quietly resigned, angering students like Riley Ransom.
Dr. Tyndall and those that have protected him instead of us must be held accountable for their 30 years of wrongdoing.
The statute of limitations applies to many cases, but the DA's office in LA says they are reviewing 64 possible cases. Tyndall denies he abused anyone, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. An hour to the close on Wall Street. Stocks remain mixed. The Dow is up more than 60 points. This is Fox News.
This flu season, one Walgreens flu shot can make a world of difference. So you can protect yourself and also your close-talking coworkers, high-fiving neighbors, 2-month-old niece. That's why Walgreens has specially trained pharmacists that have provided over 60 million flu shots since 2010. Stop by for your flu shot today with a $0 copay with most insurance. Because protecting the world starts with protecting yours. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. Vaccine subject to availability. State, age, and health-related restrictions may apply.
And now, the worst commercial ever.
I'm Jake! And I'm Jack! We're the Plow Guys! How do we keep your driveways clean? With commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive! They help through the customized insurance plan that keeps our business on the road! And that's news worth shouting out loud simultaneously!
Enthusiastic yelling at the same time.
Yeah!
Terrible. Whereas commercial auto and business insurance through Progressive is anything but. Visit progressivecommercial.com to quote today. Insurance provided in service by Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. It's affiliated in third-party insurers.
Man in custody in Kentucky suspected of plotting to attack schools.
Troopers interviewed him in regards to the online threats and through their investigation found evidence of a credible and imminent threat to Shelby and Anderson County schools.
State Police Sergeant Joshua Lawson says a detailed plan of attack was found at the home of 21-year-old Dylan Jarrell, along with a gun, dozens of rounds of ammunition, a bulletproof vest, and internet searches on how to conduct a school shooting. Schools in Anderson County, Kentucky were closed today as a precaution. A man accused of threatening senators over the recent Supreme Court battle is under arrest.
A federal court in New York State says 74-year-old Ronald DeRisi of Smithtown threatened to assault and kill a number of U.S. senators who voted to confirm Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court appointment. DeRisi is accused of leaving threatening voicemails for two senators, even using the words, "I'm going to get you," and saying that he had a 9mm present for the side of one senator's skull. Investigators say DeRisi's voice matches samples they have, and they were able to trace the calls back to his cell phone.
Fox's Evan Brown. A school chef needs a new job after cooking up an unusual addition to the school lunch menu.
School cook Kevin Fry stirred some kangaroo meat into his beef chili at Potter Dix Junior Senior High School in Nebraska. School Superintendent Mike Williams wrote a letter to parents saying Fry told him he added the kangaroo meat because it's lean and nutritious. The meat came from a food distributor that must meet federal requirements. Williams apologized for any anxiety the exotic ingredient may have caused. It apparently upset so many people, Fry got fired. Anna Wells, Fox News.
People are lining up to buy Mega Millions tickets. Tonight's jackpot has hit $1 billion. That's second only to a $1.6 billion Powerball drawing in 2016. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The Iowa National Guard reports a soldier has died in a swimming accident. Radio Iowa's Dar Danielson reports.
Guard spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Mike One says 19-year-old Private First Class Matthew Cox of Leon was swimming with four other soldiers at a beach at the Naval Station Guantanamo Bay Tuesday. One says Cox was overpowered by a strong current and went under the water. Rescuers pulled his body out Wednesday afternoon. Cox was born in Des Moines and was homeschooled. He enlisted in the Iowa Army National Guard on October 11th of 2017 and was a military police officer with the 186th MP Company. He deployed to Cuba in July of 2018. Funeral arrangements are pending. Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson.
Vermont Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will be in Fort Dodge this Sunday. He's joining 4th District U.S. House candidate J.D. Scholten at a town hall at Iowa Central Community College. The town hall event is from 11:30 to 12:30 at the Biohealth Science Auditorium at Iowa Central. Sanders and Scholten will be holding a discussion focusing on Social Security and issues impacting seniors. The president of Social Security Works, John Bowman, will also speak. Sanders and Scholten will also be speaking at a rally in Sioux City at Morningside College on Saturday from 5:30 to 7. And after their appearance in Fort Dodge on Sunday, Scholten and Sanders will speak at a rally in Ames on Sunday from 4 to 5:30 at Iowa State University. Iowa's unemployment rate in September stayed at 2.5%, unchanged from August. Iowa Workforce Development spokesperson Corey Kelly says only Hawaii has a lower jobless rate, which rose to 2.2% last month. According to Kelly, it's a very challenging time for Iowa businesses that are trying to hold on to employees.
Normally, when the unemployment rate ticks down, you see wages increase. So there's a lot of competition out there.
The IWD report shows the total number of working Iowans increased to 1,644,400 in September. That's 1,900 higher than August.
Total non-farm employment remains up 17,600 jobs versus last September. So goods producing sectors continue to fuel annual growth and contributed 14,300 jobs over the past 12 months.
There were 41,800 Iowans listed as unemployed in September. That's down from 50,000 1 year ago. In local sports, Fort Dodge football is on the road at Marshalltown tonight with radio coverage on 92.1 The Eagles starting at 6:45. A win tonight over the 4-4 Bobcats would put the Dodgers at 7-2 to end the regular season and could give Fort Dodge a home playoff game. Offensive coordinator Nick Mosier told me how he plans to attack the Bobcats defense.
We'll just do what we've been doing. We've got areas that we think we can have some success. I think we can have some success running the ball. I think we can have some success throwing the ball. But we've got to get Dasan going. We've got to be able to get Dasan going running the ball. We've got to be able to get Dasan going with catching the ball. If you get Tyson Kershaw going early in the game, I think he's a lot better for you than waiting.
St. Edmund looks to end the season with a victory over Manson Northwest Webster at Dodger Stadium. Games at 7 with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7. South Central Calhoun faces rival Pocahontas area with the district title on the line. Radio coverage is at 6:45 on 105.9 The Beach. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Sunny skies and calm this afternoon with a high of 66. Northwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows level off around 39. 46 tomorrow. Lots of sunshine outside. Dry and turning much warmer Sunday and Monday with highs in the upper 50s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 65.
The opinions and remarks expressed on this radio program by the host, guests, and call-in listeners are the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not reflect the views of management or ownership of KVFD AM 1400.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One and a member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
Buying flooring can be a tough decision, especially when you're just not sure how it's going to look in your home. What if you don't like it? Oops. That's why it pays to see me, Dean Sternberg, at Jim's Carpet One Floor and Home. Come see us and ask about the Carpet One Beautiful Guarantee. If you don't love your new Carpet One carpet, hardwood, vinyl, tile, or laminate, we will replace it free, including installation. Get a floor you're guaranteed to love and ask about the beautiful guarantee at Jim's Carpet One Floor and Home, Fort Dodge.
I'm Ann Meyer. After 31 years as a nurse, I've seen it all. I know Iowans because I've taken care of them and kept them healthy. I've also seen where our state can do better, like health care that's affordable and readily available, mental health and veterans care services for those who are too often forgotten, and encourage businesses to invest in Iowa's second-to-none workforce. I'm Ann Meyer, and from the exam room to the state capitol, I'll never stop working for Iowans.
Paid for by Ann Meyer for State House.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Please meet Katie. Katie says she needs to tell her fiance the truth before their baby is born. Katie, what's going on?
Well, I'm 4 months pregnant, Jerry, and I've been cheating on him with another woman.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Do you ever get tired of watching bad things happen to people?
Sticking up for you when no one else will.
Well, let's see. 4 months pregnant, cheating on her boyfriend with another woman. Dr. Lee Heeb, I'm going to go way out on a limb here and guess she's a Democrat. What do you think?
I don't know. You know, bad behavior runs across.
Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe it is. Dr. Lee Heeb is an orthopedic surgeon. She's a libertarian and a longtime contributor to this program. And by the way, we should mention that right after the first of the year, Dr. Heeb and I will be hosts of a health program. It's still in development, but I look forward to it very much. The general idea is that people will either email or Twitter or ask health questions of Dr. Lee Heeb, again, who is a longtime orthopedic surgeon right here in the state of Iowa, an actual doctor rather than a sociologist, as I'm always take pains to say. So, yeah, that's coming up, and I think Thursday is going to be the day we do it.
And I hope you mentioned, too, it's not just about orthopedic problems.
No.
My other passion is wellness and all the things that you don't learn when you go to your doctor. And being, I think it'll be after the first of the year when people want to turn over a new leaf, I think it'll be great to give them the latest science of staying well.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't want to imply it was just about orthopedics. Yeah, it's general health.
Yeah.
General health. So we look forward to doing that. Anyway, we're heading toward an election. I was just looking up candidate J.D. Scholten. J.D. Scholten is the Democratic nominee to be our next congressman replacing Steve King. I've looked through his resume carefully, and it looks like he needs the job, so he's going to run for Congress.
That might be the only person they could get to run against Steve.
Maybe so. I don't know. No, he'll be here tomorrow with Bernie Sanders. Apparently, your old buddy Bernie Sanders. I like Bernie better than you do, but yeah, he'll be here at Iowa Central Community College at 11 o'clock tomorrow, from what I understand. So if I'm not doing anything, I'll run out and offer him a job so he doesn't have to run for Congress. There we go. There we go. So I wonder if the election goes the wrong way for the people who are masquerading as Democrats in the year 2018. I wonder if there really will be violence in the street. I know you're not a psychiatrist, but
there's already violence in the street.
There is, isn't there?
Besides the fact, I think we got violence at multiple levels. Now we've got a caravan of people clearly organized to come across our borders. That could be huge violence. That could be an actual invasion. We got people, kicking women in street violence. I don't know if you saw that video. We got people trying to claw their way in and making a ruckus at the Kavanaugh thing. At all levels, there seems to be this stuff going on. And, it's probably, you're right, it probably will get worse if they don't get their way. I know it'll get worse if they don't get their way.
It's interesting. They put this really generic rich white man by the name of Fred Hubble up at the top of their ticket. But if you look at the party as a whole, wow.
Well, and that is when you look at the street violence that's happening, and this would be funny. Honestly, this has some humor if it weren't so tragic for our country and for our individuals. Because did you see that one? I think it was in Portland or it was in Oregon, where you had this kind of fluffy white guy, and he's out in the street and he's yelling and giving it the fist wave and everything. And this other white person in a car drives by, probably just trying to go to work, and he's yelling at them, "Hey, here, you whitey!" It's like, really? What the heck? Isn't that kind of funny? And then calling somebody that just happened to have a North Carolina license plate a member of the KKK.
Oh yeah. They just
can't make this stuff up. And
you really can't.
One of the funniest things was watching the CNN anchor saying there's no violence in the street, and then having it superimposed against a video of them literally kicking this woman in the face. I'm sorry, there is violence in the street. People are beating each other up. So my question is, I think we need to say first is this organic? Is this really a spontaneous rioting because people are generally fed up with the way the country's going? And I got to say, I lived through the Vietnam War. I was in college during Vietnam. And I have to say that I saw what organic grassroots protests were. They were disorganized. They had different kinds of signs. People had all sorts of different kinds of signs. It wasn't pre-printed. And, and there was all sorts of people. My dad didn't like the Vietnam War. He volunteered for World War II, but he certainly didn't like the Vietnam War. And he didn't go out and protest that way, although I do remember it's kind of a funny thing. At age 63 or something, he burned his draft card on the front porch just to be funny, because he heard this on the national news. We were watching all this draft card burning, and my dad said, "What's the big deal about that? I can do that." He was 63 at the time. That was organic. This is not. And then when it's not organic, then the next question is, who's doing it?
Well, who is doing it? Who is?
And I got to say, we've seen this historically. We've seen it in the 1930s in Germany. We've seen it in Russia in 1917, and now it's come to America. This is organized, and you have to ask who benefits from this. You have to ask who's paying for this. It's like now I think Trump asked who's paying for this caravan.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. That caravan is supposed to hit the border about Election Day or a couple of days before. Now, that is not coincidental. That's not coincidental.
No, and that's one of the most tragic things. I've heard this term weaponization of the third world. Okay, I believe it. It's like the sea of people coming from Africa, walking through Germany, trying to find. This is using the third world for some purpose. The purpose to take down Western civilization, in my opinion. But you can argue what the purpose is. But it's clearly not being done spontaneously. 4,000 people in 4 third world countries cannot organize themselves, feed themselves, water themselves, shelter themselves, and get themselves all to the border at the same time. somebody is directing this. And, same thing with these riots. We've already seen the Kavanaugh hearings. We watched people going out that had been raising hell in the hearings, going out and getting paid. And I can't prove this. I've heard it was George Soros money, but it was like they were getting paid. So who's paying these Antifa? Who's setting this all up? You got to ask yourself who benefits. And, whoever it is, I'm going to say, because this is happening all over the world in one form or another. It's not just about taking down America. It's somebody wants to control us in general. I think there's people laughed when people talked about a new world order, but there's who would benefit from having chaos in Germany and chaos in Britain and chaos in America. Well, it's the internationalists. And who are the big internationalists? It's the economic guys. It's the people that control the money. And I think one of the telltale things that's happening right now is the minute that Trump starts to get the economy going, or you can say it was anybody, but the minute the economy starts to get going in America, the Fed is doing everything it can to halt the benefits, right? So we don't own the Fed. The Fed, as Greenspan went on TV and said, the Fed is a totally independent agency, not, quote, under control of the government.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a bigger plan here. Now, I will mention that in Germany and Russia at the time, the two other instances of this, the Communist Party was the intermediary. I don't think, the Bolsheviks themselves or the communists in the streets rioting in Germany were the total reason for it, but they are the proximate cause in many cases. And, we know that China's interested in doing things here. We know that the communists have positions here. And the history that people don't want to remember in America is that the Communist Party were, first of all, against World War II, and then when Germany attacked the Soviet Union, the Comintern, Stalin, and the boys said, go join the Democrats with FDR to fight the Germans. And they've never left. So there's a faction of this is just the history. There's a faction of the Communist Party, the faction of the Democrats that basically were outright communists. And I don't know that they're gone. They're not gone. Bernie Sanders is probably one that really have the communist mantra in their heart. And, I just can't help but think that that's part of it. But I don't think they're the final common straw,
Oh, I don't either. I really think it's from what I can see, it is a group of people who are privileged people, really. Most of these people you see screaming their heads off like the four horsemen of the apocalypse are riding across a cornfield north of town, bearing down on Fort Dodge. Most of these people live in nice houses and have comfortable jobs and comfortable lives. And it has gotten into their head somehow that they are threatened.
Right. Besides the Colin Kaepernick claiming that he was discriminated against.
The poor man.
The French Revolution was not brought about by the poor people. It was brought about by the children of aristocrats.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not sure that they were the people that really started it, but they were the people in the streets that organized and did it. And that's true today. It's not really the blue collar worker that's out here doing it, nor was it in the Bolshevik Revolution. And again, it brings me back to bankers and the big central banks. It's a little known fact that it was a banker in New York City, Schiff, that sent $20 million in gold to the Bolsheviks to go take out the Tsar and to go into Russia and make it the Soviet Union. And that was how they got their the final funding to go do what they did. So, there's a lot behind the scenes that we're not seeing about this.
There always is. There's always a lot behind the scenes.
Right. And, the whole history, I have to say, I've come to the belief that in the 1800s, we call that the Industrial Revolution, the age of Industrial Revolution. I really think when 200, 300 years, when people look back at the 20th century, they're going to say that was the age of propaganda. We have learned that propaganda can drive the narrative, the facts don't matter, and you can bring about big social change. And you can take down government. It's starting to happen here. And the issue is, how do you counter this? I think it's that tragedy is, look at those poor people on the Mexican border. Those 4,000 or 6,000 or however many people there are that are coming up to the border and might end up getting stopped. I lived on the Mexican border, and I saw people being used by the coyotes to come across. They made their money. They'd abandon them in the desert. They die of water deprivation.
Oh, happens all the time. Happens all the
It
time.
is not easy to come from places in South America through Mexico and end up on the border with no place to go. But you watch. The Democrats who purport to love everybody and feel bad about the separation of children and their parents, I think should watch out. The people that believe that narrative should watch what happens to people on the border that just been halted. You know, they've just kind of changed their mind about this a little bit. They will abandon them like hot rock.
You bet.
And then nobody will ever follow up in the national news what happened to those poor people. You know, that's not a compassionate move. You know,
no, it's not. But it's not about compassion. You know, the liberalism in the United States had Christian roots. The liberals believed that they were commanded by God. And I consider myself a Christian man, that liberals believe they were commanded by God to do certain things, to fight slavery, to take care of the poor and those in need. I don't have any problem with that. These liberals today are interested in power, political power. They could care less about faith-based morals. They're interested in power, and that's what bothers me about them. Oh, there's a number of things that bothers me about them, but that perhaps the most. You shouldn't want power in such a cold-blooded, ruthless, and merciless way as they do, but they do.
Well, and again, back to history, it repeats itself. And the first thing that, you know, the Marxists, Leninists took over the Soviet Union, they said one thing, but they wanted a utopia of the worker, right? They wanted to be so that people had equality of income, equality of opportunity, all the things we're hearing today. But they admitted, but behind all that, and we have absolute documentation of this. I mean, first of all, they were okay shooting people to do that. And we always hear, you know, we're always in a big deal to remember the Holocaust, but how many people remember the Holodomor? The Holodomor, the Soviets, Stalin and Yagoda and Dzerzhinsky and all these guys that were in charge of the Cheka, they murdered 1,600 Ukrainians and Georgians by actually purposely starving them to death to meet their political ends. It's always the same.
Oh, I think
these guys that want to change the world, and it's for power ultimately for them. Not for the good of the people.
Robert Conquest wrote at length about Stalin's plan to starve those in the Ukraine or starve his political opponents. It's estimated that 5 million people at the very least starved because the Soviet government or Comintern or whatever they called themselves at the time came and seized their food. Said this belongs to the government. Your land, your food, your crop belongs to the government, and you belong to the government. And if you listen to today's liberals, that's how kind of they talk. Yes, we're in charge. You are, if you want to say you're an individual of some sort, yeah, okay, you go ahead and say that. But we're going to tell you what to do because we're who we are. Which was essentially...
And they have the same argument. They're doing the same things today they did then. First, you have to be disarmed. You have to disarm the people that own the land because you can't kill them if they're armed. And you can't take their food. They'll eventually start ganging up on you because there are more of them than there are more of you. There are only 3% of the Russians were Bolsheviks. So, you know, they did it by convincing people through narrative that they should cooperate in this great utopian experiment and give up their weapons, and then that they would, you know, we would equally distribute things and take care of you. And, you know, it's the same thing we're hearing today. It doesn't work, and it always ends up in mass murder. So I'm hoping, you know, that people, I think we're Americans. I really think we're different. I don't think I think we have a different history than the Russians did, a different history than the Germans did. Both of those nations were under kings. And thank God for George Washington and the boys. They said, no, we're not going to have a king. George Washington said, I won't be the king.
That's
we
right.
got rid of that. And that's why I think we're different. And I'm hoping that difference makes us strong against that.
Well, I hope so. To get something free has a powerful draw. To be told that something is moral makes a lot of our people in this area, it makes their ears perk up. But moral in what way? Are you talking about a Christian moral position, or are you talking about a position of power? Because that's all Joseph Stalin and his group knew. Hi there, we're the people and we're the power. You can't be both. You can be the power, you can be the people. You can't be both of those things. Now, recently at Iowa City West High School, which is an affluent part of Iowa City, the student body has decided to go gender neutral. As a matter of fact, they were gender neutral as of 2017. Now, I could say a lot of things about this, but let me tell you this. If you can convince someone to surrender their identity, you can get that person to do anything. If you can tell a person you're not male or female or anything else, or if you are, it's unimportant, you have made them a slave. And that's what just happened in Iowa City West High School. The cradle of liberalism in Iowa, the People's Republic of Johnson County, has just declared their probably wealthiest high school just declared themselves non-people. Really, they have.
I believe it, because there's a whole, it's called transhumanism. And, you know, there's a guy, I'm blanking on his last name. It starts with a Z, like Zubrov or something like that. But he wrote a great book on the evils of transhumanism and how this is the new, 21st century modus that's coming to us. It's one of those big agendas that push to just destroy our society. But again, who benefits when the society of Western culture is destroyed? That's what you got to ask yourself. There's bigger movements afoot here, and it's not just a local phenomenon here. It's not just the Democrats. They're just being used. I think it's a bigger issue. But yeah, you're right. Transhumanism is a strange thing. Well, they're talking about human-animal hybrids. I mean, they're talking about all sorts of stuff with this. It's not just. I think, Mike, you should declare yourself a woman and start seeing what that will do for you. It's like all these sports teams that now these men are winning women's sports. It's like what the heck?
Well, you've seen me. I'm 6. You've seen me. I'm 6'2", and I'm kind of hairy, as a matter of fact. So I might freak out some women in the dressing room or in the locker room.
If you come into the bathroom in my office, in the women's bathroom, I'm going to object. I'm going to tell you right now.
Of course, Bruce.
We're going to know the difference. We are a medical office.
Of course, Bruce Jenner was 6'2" and 230, with an impressive chest and big, broad shoulders and huge thighs. World-class athlete, declared himself a woman. Bada bing.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, if you can do it, you can do it. I'll pick out your wig.
Yeah, you'd have to. I don't know if what's his name? What is his name? Bruce Jenner now? It's some other name, some female name. Caitlyn. There we go. I don't know if Caitlyn wears a wig or if Bruce still had most of his hair and could grow it. I don't know. It's when you surrender when you surrender your identity, you surrender your dignity in some ways, and that's not an accident.
Well, and I'm going to just make this point. If you as a nation lose your, cultural identity does mean something. So what they're talking about is we're losing our culture. We're losing our cultural identity. But there are people who are not. I mean, if you leave the Islamic faith, for example, you're up for murder because you can't marry outside the faith. You can't leave the faith, yada, yada, yada. And there are cultures around the world that understand this. And if they're the people that are going to be the last people standing, who's going to be organized enough to control things? It won't be the completely deluded culturalist Americans. We are going to go down like the Romans if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a point to sustaining your culture. That's not a racist comment. That's just a cultural comment. You just got to just say that's true. I mean, and it is funny. Other nations are okay with that.
Yeah.
My understanding is that Liberia, you couldn't, and I don't know if this is still true, but I think it is, that unless you're black, you cannot own property or be a citizen of Liberia.
In Liberia?
Yeah. And I know for a long, long time in Japan, you could not own property unless you were Japanese. So they would let you marry a non-Japanese, but you were completely ostracized once you did that. And in Japan, I lived there for a year. I'm telling you the truth. In Japan, and I love the Japanese, but let me tell you, they have a huge racial identity that they do not compromise. And if they tell you that you look, even if you're Japanese, if you look Korean because of the 1,000 years back and forth fighting between the two, they will ostracize you. You'll be a second-class citizen, even though you're full-blood Japanese.
Oh, yeah.
That happens around the world. And yet we keep complaining that it's the white people that are just racist. No, that's not true.
Well, according to Bill and Hillary Clinton, America needed to lead the way. This was the way Barack Obama talked as well. We were going to lead the way with this beautiful, gorgeous mosaic society. Gorgeous mosaic is the way Bill Clinton described it. And, nobody followed us.
Yeah.
Nobody did.
But their idea of mosaic was that certain cultures got privilege over others. That certain races got privilege over others. That's not mosaic. I mean, it might be a mosaic, but it's an uneven one. So at some point we have to say what this is really all about. It's not, they're not trying to make us equal because they really believe in equality. You watch, if they did, they wouldn't abandon these people south of the border. You watch.
I'm sure that's it.
They want power. And if they can convince us to be completely chaotic, if they can get us out of our churches and get us away from our guns, get us away from our family village identity, then they'll have more power over us. It's really that simple, I think.
Oh, so without a doubt.
I think the violence will stop probably only when we it may take some violence back. I don't want it to be that way. But I hope if enough people understand what we're saying and don't buy into it, then it won't need violence. But if enough people get co-opted by these people, and how many people can they pay? I don't know what percentage of Antifa gets paid. Do you?
No, what a certain amount do.
I know. I'm sure the leaders do.
Oh yeah.
So they can only hold people with payment for so long. If you convince the young people that this is the true spirit of America somehow needs to be taken back for Antifa, that's kind of crazy. Ironically, again, that would be funny if it weren't so dangerous that they're using fascist tactics and they're called anti-fascist.
Yeah, they're a little clueless, aren't they? I've seen them. They've taken over neighborhoods in Portland, Oregon. The mayor of Portland almost encourages it. As a matter of fact, a federal building was taken over in Portland, Oregon, and the mayor of Portland, Ted Wheeler, refused to allow Portland police to clear away demonstrators from the federal building. Antifa had it barricaded and wouldn't let people out of the building because, of course, they were racist for wanting to enforce immigration laws. There was an ICE office in this federal building. So of course, the mayor of Portland sided with the criminals. He sided with the criminals.
Yep.
He pronounced them righteous, even though they were breaking a number of laws. He pronounced them, he didn't come out and say they are righteous, but that's exactly what happened.
Well, and the question is, I guess I didn't realize about it being a federal building. So here's the question you have to ask yourself is, if somebody took over our embassy somewhere, what do you think we'd do? Well, wait a minute, there was Benghazi. I guess we just stand aside and let it go.
That was Jimmy Carter in Iran, too.
In the old days, we would have considered that an act of war, and we would have retaliated somehow. Not necessarily declaring war, but we would have tried to forcibly take back our embassy. At least we would have severed ties with them. Think Iran. So maybe where was the federal government in that? Maybe that's the point the federal government should have said, wait a minute. Maybe they just thought it would look bad on the evening news. But I think if you're going to take over a federal building, be prepared to have the feds come back and take it back.
I just have to ruminate just for a moment on Jimmy Carter and the hostage situation in Iran. He handled that so poorly. Jimmy Carter likely was the worst president of the 20th century. And he still speaks publicly, and everything he seems to say is picked up by the liberal news media and broadcast if it were some sort of article of faith or some revealed truth by this mean-spirited little man. Because that's all Jimmy Carter ever really was. He did start Habitat for Humanity. He did try to live within the tenets of his faith. I admire him for that. But anybody who knew him or knows him to this day says he has a mean streak a mile wide. So he's ripping on Brett Kavanaugh now, ripping on Donald Trump. Donald Trump, inept though he may be in the eyes of liberals, will do more in his presidency positively for the United States of America than Jimmy Carter did ever or would have.
Oh, yeah.
He's simply
Now,
incapable.
And let me just back up and say something about Carter. When I say that there's something bigger, there's an international somebody out there bigger than America that's doing this. It's not just the Democrats. Let me just take you back to Jimmy Carter. Now, Jimmy Carter, I'm embarrassed to say he was a naval officer.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Carter, in his he did two things, and what he did was almost, and I think with the exception maybe of one person, before this, we didn't have trilateral commissioners as in our administration by and large. His entire cabinet was filled with trilateral commissioners, and there are people that say that was when the takeover of America started. The second thing he did, if you remember, was he gutted the human intelligence of the CIA. You know, we didn't recognize the Shah going to fall because he pulled out all our agents. He had completely decimated. It takes decades to build an intelligence network so that you at least know what's going on. Now, maybe people can badmouth the CIA and whatever, but the point is if you really want to know what's going on in the world today, you have to have all sorts of intelligence. That doesn't mean you're going to be aggressive. It just means that's keeping you informed. Everybody else does it. He got rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think the point of all that was? I mean, you know, I think I told you about the book Technocracy Rising, and it's a guy who really looked at the technocracy movement back into the 1930s and 20s when it was a big thing in America, and they all wore these gray uniforms, and Ford made them special technocracy cars, and their principles were that we should run America. Democracy, representative government is messy. We should run America based on engineering principles. We will put a board together, and under this will be sub-boards, and we'll feed data up by surveying the population, and we'll give them all this data, and then they'll tell everybody what to do. That's technocracy, and that is what the Trilateral Commissioners came out of. That's if people think the Trilateral Commission is a myth. Just go on. And I went to a lecture by this guy. I said, "How do you know who's on the Trilateral Commission?" He said, "Easy. Just they're right up in front of your face. They're online. Just go and look." But I watched when Trump was elected and he started naming his cabinet. I noticed he had no Trilateral Commissioners.
Well, that's
I don't
a good know if thing.
That's still true, but when they first started coming out, I started checking the names. So he gets it. I think.
I hope so.
There's a whole bunch of weird stuff, but Jimmy Carter was not our friend.
I was going to talk about Hillary Clinton and her latest disasters by saying that President Bill Clinton's abuse of Monica Lewinsky when he was 49 and she was 22. According to Mrs. Clinton, that was not an abuse of power. That was not an abuse of power. My God, woman, go away.
I even think Democrats have to see the hypocrisy in that one.
Come
on. And in fact, what about the Me Too movement? Those were adult women that were abused by the Hollywood producers, presumably.
Yeah, that's right.
And let me just say that in the military, in theoretically in government, and in any real office, it's supposed to. There's a certain. You don't take advantage of your position over somebody that you have power over. I mean, that's not considered ethical, and it will get you court-martialed in the military and fired from corporations.
Certainly,
you take advantage of your position to abuse people. So that's the fact that she's adult doesn't matter. This is the president of the United States taking advantage of an intern in his custody, essentially, in his care.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's not just her. I mean,
oh, yeah. I know.
In fact, there were rape charges against Bill Clinton.
Yes, there were.
Let's not forget there were credible rape charges against him, and she just called it a bimbo eruption.
Yeah.
Remember that?
James Carville said, "Yeah, just drag $100 bill through a trailer cord, and see what you can get." That they were real feminists, before their time. These guys were feminists, I'll tell you. All right, Dr. Lee Heeb has been our guest. Thank you, Lee. All right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
I am neither he nor she, Mr. nor Mrs., male nor female. And the only part of me that's transitioning are my heels.
Michael Devine with breaking news and stimulating talk.
I guess that's the president of the student body down at Iowa City West High School. Wow. The People's Republic of Iowa City. 2:42, the news is next. Yes, it's Friday. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
A church house, gin house, a schoolhouse, outhouse, on highway number 19. The people keep the city clean. They call it Nutbush. Oh, Nutbush. Call it Nutbush City Limit.
Chevy Truck Month has arrived at Humboldt Motor Sales. Come on in for incredible deals on select Sierras and Silverados. Hurry in now and take $10,000 off the 2018 GMC Sierra. If Silverado is your go-to truck, come on in and save 20% on the new 2018s. The 2019 Silverados and Sierras have arrived, so take one for a test drive today. If an SUV is more your style, you're in luck because you'll save 16% on the 2019 Equinox LTs. Save on your next vehicle at Humboldt Motor Sales. Stop in now or shop online at HumboldtGM.com.
Lumps go and blow.
Stump Snow and Mow? Is this Stumpy?
Yeah, this is Lumpy.
I said Stumpy. I want to talk to Stumpy.
Stumpy, Lumpy, same thing, man.
No, it's not. Don't be fooled by wannabe imposters. Call the original Stump Snow and Mow for all your lawn care and snow removal needs. From lawn aerating, fall spraying, and leaf cleanup to keeping your sidewalks, driveways, and parking lots clear this winter, the one and only Stump Snow and Mow is where to go. Stump Snow and Mow for complete lawn care and snow removal. If it ain't Stump, it's a pain in the rump.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The Iowa National Guard reports a soldier has died in a swimming accident. Radio Iowa's Dar Danielson reports.
Guard spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Mike One says 19-year-old Private First Class Matthew Cox of Leon was swimming with 4 other soldiers at a beach at the Naval Station Guantanamo Bay Tuesday. One says Cox was overpowered by a strong current and went under the water. Rescuers pulled his body out Wednesday afternoon. Cox was born in Des Moines and was homeschooled. He enlisted in the Iowa Army National Guard on October 11th of 2017 and was a military police officer with the 186th MP Company. He deployed to Cuba in July of 2018. Funeral arrangements are pending. Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson.
Vermont Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will be in Fort Dodge this Sunday. He's joining 4th District U.S. House candidate J.D. Scholten at a town hall at Iowa Central Community College. The town hall event is from 11:30 to 12:30 at the Biohealth Science Auditorium at Iowa Central. Sanders and Scholten will be holding a discussion focusing on Social Security and issues impacting seniors. The president of Social Security Works, John Bowman, will also speak. Sanders and Scholten will also be speaking at a rally in Sioux City at Morningside College on Saturday from 5:30 to 7. And after their appearance in Fort Dodge on Sunday, Scholten and Sanders will speak at a rally in Ames on Sunday from 4 to 5:30 at Iowa State University. Iowa's unemployment rate in September stayed at 2.5%, unchanged from August. Iowa Workforce Development spokesperson Corey Kelly says only Hawaii has a lower jobless rate, which rose to 2.2% last month. According to Kelly, it's a very challenging time for Iowa businesses that are trying to hold on to employees.
Normally, when the unemployment rate ticks down, you see wages increase. So there's a lot of competition out there.
The IWD report shows the total number of working Iowans increased to 1,644,400 in September. That's 1,900 higher than August.
Total non-farm employment remains up 17,600 jobs versus last September. So goods-producing sectors continue to fuel annual growth and contributed 14,300 jobs over the past 12 months.
There were 41,800 Iowans listed as unemployed in September. That's down from 50,000 1 year ago. In local sports, Fort Dodge football is on the road at Marshalltown tonight with radio coverage on 92.1. The Eagles starting at 6:45. A win tonight over the 4-4 Bobcats would put the Dodgers at 7-2 to end the regular season and could give Fort Dodge a home playoff game. Offensive coordinator Nick Mosier told me how he plans to attack the Bobcats defense.
We'll just do what we've been doing. We've got areas that we think we can have some success. I think we can have some success running the ball. I think we can have some success throwing the ball. But we've got to get Dason going. We've got to be able to get Dason going running the ball. We've got to be able to get Dason going with catching the ball. If you get Tyson Kershaw going early in the game, I think he's a lot better for you than waiting.
St. Edmund looks to end the season with a victory over Manson Northwest Webster at Dodger Stadium. Game's at 7 with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7. South Central Calhoun faces rival Pocahontas area with the district title on the line. Radio coverage is at 6:45 on 105.9 The Beach. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Let's look at how the markets closed today. December corn closed down 3 3/4 at 367. March down 3 1/2 at 379 1/2. May down 3 1/4 at 387. July down 3 cents at 392 3/4. November soybeans down 6 3/4 at 856 3/4. January down 7 1/4 at 870 1/2. March down 7 cents at 883 1/2. May down 6 3/4 at 897. December wheat closed up 1 3/4 at 514 3/4. Soybean meal down 320 a ton at 313.10. October live cattle down 82 cents at 112 1/4. December down 40 cents at 116.77. October feeder cattle down 60 cents at 154.65. November down 32 at 154.10. December lean hogs down 70 cents at 51.60. February down 120 at 59.02. I'm Dwayne Murley.
This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge 248. Obituaries this hour bbrought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. My friend Jerry Black has died at the age of 86. Gerald D. Black, 86 of Fort Dodge, died on Thursday at Trinity Regional Medical Center. Services are pending for Jerry Black. Bud Estegard has passed away at the age of 82. Bud Estegard of Fort Dodge has died. He died on Thursday at his home. Services for Bud Estegard will be at the Trinity United Methodist Church on Monday the 22nd at 10 in the morning with lunch to follow. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge 249.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you: printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Tough as nails, nerves of steel. If you've come to test our metal, you better tighten up your chin strap. Get amped up for all the gridiron action on the Panther Sports Network.
University of Northern Iowa sports are brought to you on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, by Mitch Lund State Farm, Party Productions, The Other Store, and New Age Media. Catch UNI Sports right here on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Price times 1,000 acres, carry the one. These days, it's hard to make the math work for your soybean fields. The BASF Liberty Link system with Liberty herbicide makes it easier. Start with a 2+ bushel per acre yield advantage. Add in lower system input costs and more complete weed control, and you get an extra $33 or more profit potential per acre compared to Asgrow Roundup Ready to Extend soybeans. Grow smart with Liberty Link and BASF. Always read and follow label directions.
Welcome to Jimmy John's.
Hi, your new 9-grain wheat sub is so good. How do you make it?
With the highest quality ingredients and love. I mean, we definitely don't sing at lullabies when it's baking. Lullabies are what parents sing to babies.
Right.
And we don't use a baby carrier to carry the warm, fresh 9-grain wheat subs to the cooling racks. I mean, they're not babies. They're for making delicious sandwiches.
Okay, I'll take a Turkey Tom.
Oh, don't name them. It makes it harder.
Try our new 9-grain wheat sub, Jimmy John's. Wheat yeah, freak yeah.
What you got there, Bob?
Oh, I've got field planner, variable rate seeding, crop health index on satellite imagery, nitrogen management, soil fertility, yield explorer.
Are you talking about Encirca Services?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just say Encirca Services?
Encirca Services.
Oh,
The Iowa Secretary of State's office wants you to be voter ready for the November 6th election. It's easy. Register to vote, bring your ID, or sign an oath of identity and cast your ballot. Register, prepare, vote. For more information, visit voterreadyiowa.org.
So you're a winner on KVFD. Congratulations. Here's a few things you need to know. Prizes and gifts awarded to listeners are provided for promotional consideration. Winners are limited to one per household. Winners must give their own legal name. Callers are sometimes taped for later broadcast. We reserve the right to refuse prizes if rules are broken. All prizes must be picked up within 10 days. We are not responsible for taxes or fees associated with prizes won. Winners may be required to show ID. Got it? Good. Thanks for listening to the station that made you what you are today. A winner. KVFD.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
Let my people go.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
Let my people go. Quit trying to program them. Quit pushing them around. Quit trying to tell them how to think and talk. Let my people go, for God's sake. They just won't do it, will they? They just have to have the power. Just have to have the power. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Wow, are we making progress on the silo ward? This really looks like something. This really does. Man, if you haven't been out to, that silo, huge silo out by Amigos to see what he's doing out there, it's really something. That's a beautiful piece of work. And I know the Fort Dodge, Fort Dodge Art Society, I forgot already. Anyway, a lot of people got together to make this happen and stuck with it. And I'll admit that I was a little leery at first of silo art. I thought it was a way to avoid tearing down an elevator, grain elevator, which, by the way, would be very, very expensive. But after seeing what this man has done, and he's up there in scaffolding right now, probably blowing in the wind out there, man, that's some kind of work. That is really beautiful. And I'm glad that this has happened. I'm glad that those who wanted to see this done have stuck with it. That's really, really great. Yeah, as you probably heard me mention in the last half hour talking with Dr. Lee Heeb, Iowa City West, one of the more affluent neighborhoods in the state of Iowa, has gone gender neutral as of last year. So they had a homecoming recently with all kinds of different people as part of the homecoming court. Now, you should find that online somewhere. I get the Iowa Press Citizen online. So that's where I found it. But yeah, you should see these normal Iowans. And if you don't think that they're normal and you don't accept them, you're some sort of bigoted, racist, redneck, white guy. It's just terrible, terrible, terrible. People are allowed to call you that, or a bigoted white woman. People are allowed to call you that because there has been an attempt to redefine certain words. Let me give that to you again. Some of you older people will remember this. There has been a long-term and mostly successful drive to redefine certain terms, and certainly morality itself. There has been a long-term effort to redefine simple words like man and woman, because make no mistake about it, that's what's going on. Like, what is a man? What is a woman? What is American? What does a marriage look like? There has been a long-term, mostly successful drive and effort to change the definition of those words. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to comment on the conversation previously about socialism. And at one point there was, you were talking about a power versus moral standpoint, especially in regards to Christians. I would even argue that socialism violates the core principles of Christianity, because it violates three of the Ten Commandments. We would treat government as idol. We would go to the government for everything instead of God. It's theft. It takes everything that we have and to covet our neighbor's possessions. That's the core of socialism.
Pure socialism, yeah, it is anti-Christian at the bottom. The type of liberalism that was common in the United States recognized that capitalism, for all its flaws, and there are flaws in capitalism, for all its flaws, it allowed the people to determine how they were going to live. It gave people more freedom than any other economic system. It wasn't really complicated. And that's exactly the way I look at it. Capitalism, in comparison with the other economic systems that have been practiced in history and around the world today, is far superior, period.
I agree.
I don't think that can really be successfully argued. If there's some sort of new economic system that can benefit all of us, I will listen to it. But I haven't heard it yet. I just haven't heard it. Again, capitalism certainly has its flaws, but nothing like communism, for God's sake. That's the worst idea of the 19th and 20th century. Yeah, we were talking about the drive for power. Let's not forget that Stalin, one of the first things he did was bulldoze all the churches and slaughter priests by the hundreds, maybe the thousands. And in the place of these churches, he put huge statues of himself. Let's not forget that.
Well, and the rules don't apply to everyone the same in socialism either. I mean, yeah, in a utopian society, yeah, then everyone would be treated the same. But in socialism, there's at least two different classes of people. There's the ruling class and everyone else. And guess where all the money and power ends up? With the ruling class. They don't have to abide by those same rules.
There is the ruling class and everyone else, and you want to take another look at the Democratic Party, the way they're talking now. That's exactly the way they see our world. They want to determine our morals, define common words for us, and tell us that having a ruling class is a good thing. I don't think it is. Anyway, thank you for your call, sir.
Thank you.
All right, it's 3:00. This is KVFD in Fort Dodge, Iowa. The news is next, all right? The news is next. We'll be talking sports a little bit later on. KVFD, Fort Dodge, Iowa.
If you're into cars or just want to learn a thing or two, tune in every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 for the Under the Hood Car Show on AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
Russian meddling in the midterms. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's the allegation in a new federal case against a Russian woman accused of helping to plant misinformation online to sow division in the U.S. political system.
The 44-year-old is a citizen of Russia, lives in St. Petersburg, and it's alleged that she was part of something called Project Latka. But more importantly, she's connected to a firm called Concord. That firm was initially indicted by the Justice Department and the FBI as interfering in the 2016 election. So on its face, it does seem to be an extension of that interference.
Fox's Catherine Herridge in Washington. It's believed to be the first federal charge against a foreign national claiming interference in this year's elections. A mass caravan of Central American migrants breaking through a border fence in Guatemala and streaming into Mexico, still heading for the U.S., as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo holds meetings on the caravan in Mexico City.
We are quickly reaching a point which appears to be
at the State Department.
Mexico has announced when appropriate, it will return migrants back to their home countries, though some will be able to apply for refugee status. The Mexican government is also coordinating with the UN Refugee Organization to try to deal with a number of the migrants as they move north. And the secretary says he welcomes that cooperation.
A senior State Department official also says they are, in addition, trying to coordinate efforts to help address the underlying problems in the migrants' home countries. On Wall Street, a mixed day overall. At the closing bell, the Dow up about 62 points, but the S&P and the NASDAQ finished lower. Oil prices higher, but still under $70 a barrel. This is Fox News.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
You started a DIY project at home. Then you realize convenience isn't always easy. The why in DIY doesn't mean why is this so hard. At ADT, we DIFY. Do it for you. We customize and install a secure smart home that you control from the palm of your hand or the sound of your voice. Smart security, designed and installed just for you with ADT. Visit ADT.com/smart to learn more. License information available at ADT.com. ADT. Real protection.
President's former campaign chair will have to wait until next year to learn his fate for tax and bank fraud convictions.
A federal judge in Alexandria, Virginia, has set a February 8th sentencing date for Paul Manafort. Manafort was found guilty of 8 counts of bank and tax fraud earlier this year. The jury deadlocked on 10 other charges. Those have now been dismissed. Manafort appeared in court today in a wheelchair and wearing an inmate jumpsuit. His attorneys want a sentencing soon, saying Manafort's confinement so far is negatively affecting his health. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The search continues for a 13-year-old girl missing since Monday when her parents were found shot to death in their Wisconsin home. The FBI making another appeal to the public for any information that might help lead to Jamie Kloss. Police in Chicago suspect foul play in the disappearance of a pregnant postal worker.
Kira Coles is 27 years old. She's 3 months pregnant. She called in sick for work at her job carrying mail in South Chicago on October 2nd. She was seen leaving her apartment that day on foot in her postal uniform. Her car is still parked out front. Her mom reported her missing 2 days later, unable to get her on the phone. The U.S. Postal Service has contributed $25,000 toward a reward for information about where Kira Coles is. Chris Foster, Fox News.
The state of Maryland is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to uphold its first-in-the-nation law against pharmaceutical price gouging. A federal appeals court ruled in April the law is unconstitutional because it forces manufacturers and wholesalers to act in accordance with Maryland law outside of the state, putting a burden on interstate commerce. It's the kind of jackpot that lures people into buying more than one ticket.
I bought 3, 1 for me and 2 for my friends who I'm having breakfast with.
Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is now a record for Mega Millions, $1 billion, the second highest lottery jackpot ever in the U.S. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The Iowa National Guard reports a soldier has died in a swimming accident. Radio Iowa's Dar Danielson reports.
Guard spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Mike One says 19-year-old Private First Class Matthew Cox of Leon was swimming with 4 other soldiers at a beach at the Naval Station Guantanamo Bay Tuesday. One says Cox was overpowered by a strong current and went under the water. Rescuers pulled his body out Wednesday afternoon. Cox was born in Des Moines and was homeschooled. He enlisted in the Iowa Army National Guard on October 11th of 2017 and was a military police officer with the 186 MP Company. He deployed to Cuba in July of 2018. Funeral arrangements are pending. Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson.
Vermont Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will be in Fort Dodge this Sunday. He's joining 4th District U.S. House candidate J.D. Scholten at a town hall at Iowa Central Community College. The town hall event is from 11:30 to 12:30 at the Biohealth Science Auditorium at Iowa Central. Sanders and Scholten will be holding a discussion focusing on Social Security and issues impacting seniors. The president of Social Security Works, John Bowman, will also speak. Sanders and Scholten will also be speaking at a rally in Sioux City at Morningside College on Saturday from 5:30 to 7. And after their appearance in Fort Dodge on Sunday, Scholten and Sanders will speak at a rally in Ames on Sunday from 4 to 5:30 at Iowa State University. Iowa's unemployment rate in September stayed at 2.5%, unchanged from August. Iowa Workforce Development spokesperson Corey Kelly says only Hawaii has a lower jobless rate, which rose to 2.2% last month. According to Kelly, it's a very challenging time for Iowa businesses that are trying to hold on to employees.
Normally, when the unemployment rate ticks down, you see wages increase. So there's a lot of competition out there.
The IWD report shows the total number of working Iowans increased to 1,644,400 in September. That's 1,900 higher than August.
Total non-farm employment remains up 17,600 jobs versus last September. So goods producing sectors continue to fuel annual growth and contributed 14,300 jobs over the past 12 months.
There were 41,800 Iowans listed as unemployed in September. That's down from 50,000 1 year ago. In local sports, Fort Dodge football is on the road at Marshalltown tonight with radio coverage on 92.1. The Eagles starting at 6:45. A win tonight over the 4-4 Bobcats would put the Dodgers at 7-2 to end the regular season and could give Fort Dodge a home playoff game. Offensive coordinator Nick Mosier told me how he plans to attack the Bobcats defense.
We'll just do what we've been doing. We've got areas that we think we can have some success. I think we can have some success running the ball. I think we can have some success throwing the ball. But we've got to get Dasan going. We've got to be able to get Dasan going running the ball. We've got to be able to get Dasan going with catching the ball. If you get Tyson Kershaw going early in the game, I think he's a lot better for you than waiting.
St. Edmund looks to end the season with a victory over Manson Northwest Webster at Dodger Stadium. Game's at 7 with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7. South Central Calhoun faces rival Pocahontas area with the district title on the line. Radio coverage is at 6:45 on 105.9 The Beach. This has been Alex Benzgal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Sunny skies and calm this afternoon with a high of 66. Northwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows level off around 39. 46 tomorrow. Lots of sunshine outside. Dry and turning much warmer Sunday and Monday with highs in the upper 50s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 67.
The opinions and remarks expressed on this radio program by the host, guests, and call-in listeners are the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not reflect the views of management or ownership of KVFD AM 1400.
When Pioneer says we're with you from the word go, we mean it.
I'm Dave Hine, your local Pioneer sales rep here in Granville, Iowa.
He's proud to carry on the family tradition.
I take a lot of pride in being a third-generation Pioneer sales rep. My wife, Nikki, and I began partnering with Pioneer in 1995. And my family really is the local Pioneer presence as we're entering our 70th year of working with area farmers.
Connecting with growers and understanding their needs comes natural to Dave.
I enjoy walking fields with our neighbors and providing product recommendations based on what we're seeing in the field. We look to be the trusted advisor for area farmers.
Like hundreds of other Pioneer sales representatives in Iowa, he's bringing global resources to local growers.
Pioneer provides us with a lot of great resources. The local Northwest Iowa team allows us to understand our products better than any other company.
Visit your area Pioneer sales representative for more local information.
I'm Dave Hine. We've been with you for over 70 years, and we're with you from the word go.
I'm Ann Meyer. After 31 years as a nurse, I've seen it all. I know Iowans because I've taken care of them and kept them healthy. I've also seen where our state can do better, like health care that's affordable and readily available, mental health and veterans care services for those who are too often forgotten, and encourage businesses to invest in Iowa's second-to-none workforce. I'm Ann Meyer, and from the exam room to the state capitol, I'll never stop working for Iowans.
Paid for by Ann Meyer for State House.
Hi, I'm Michael Devine with Divine Intervention at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. From 2 to 5, Monday through Friday, I'll be on the air talking local issues, local politics, local concerns. The only way this works, once again, is to have you join the conversation by calling 515-955-1400. Afternoons, 2 to 5, Divine Intervention. Please join the conversation. And I want to thank Alpha Media for allowing this program on the air in a town the size of Fort Dodge.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
You don't have bad luck. The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. Anyone have anything to confess? Just pick up the phone, call 955-1400. Father Mike Devine is here. And please bring your best weekend stories, if you know what I mean. Anyway, Alex Benzagala, our news and sports director, is here. Hi, Alex.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Well, I'm outstanding, Alex. Are you going on the road again tonight? Or are you staying in town? We got ball games, of course.
Yeah, on the road tonight at Marshalltown.
You're going down to Marshalltown.
Sure am.
Right, dog. So I'm thinking, let me think about it just for a moment. Okay, that's enough. Fort Dodge is favored to win in your mind, certainly.
Oh, of course, big time.
Yeah, I was going to say Marshalltown's not having a very good year, are they?
They're a 500 team.
Yeah.
So they're not terrible, which is a positive for them. But Fort Dodge obviously having a great year, and a win tonight could clinch a home playoff game next week, which would be huge for the Dodgers.
Several years ago, two Des Moines sports guys on a radio station down there took a poll, and the question they asked the audience was, what's the worst town in Iowa? Do you know that we lost out to Marshalltown?
Oh, no.
Fort Dodge, according to their poll, was the worst town in Iowa. Worse even than Marshalltown.
Even worse than Mason City?
I was going to say, I don't know about Mason City, but I'll tell you, Marshalltown, oh, yeah. We should have never, we should have never been in front of them. And I raised hell about that on the air for 6 months, I bet. I texted him, I tweeted, come on my show, we'll talk about what the worst town in Iowa is, because this is a great town.
Yeah.
But yeah, we lost to Marshalltown. Oh, man. So you're going to go down there here pretty soon, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm actually heading out in about 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes, you're heading out to Marshalltown. What does the game look like tonight? Have you scouted Marshalltown? Have you read anything about them?
Well, it's a team that is really heavy on the run game, so they're going to run the ball a lot of wing formation. So it's going to be important for Fort Dodge to stop the run tonight, which I think they'll do.
Yeah. Fort Dodge is pretty well rounded, it seems to me. I mean, Drake Miller to Kershaw or whoever else. I mean, we have a passing combination, a couple of passing combinations at Fort Dodge Senior High. I think it's the best I've seen at Fort Dodge Senior High, and I've been going to Dodger games a long, long time.
Well, even statistically, it's actually it's number one in the state, actually. So it's an explosive offense. Of course, you talked about Drake Miller, but also ground game and Dason Klein, which is really important too.
That's right. Yeah, this is one of the better Dodger teams I've ever seen. I've seen some good Dodger teams and some pretty bad ones, but this one's one of the better, maybe the best. Maybe this is the best Dodger team.
You never know; it's up there. So
it is. I've seen him play. I've rarely seen a Fort Dodge quarterback with the soft touch that Drake Miller has. I'll tell you, he's got some great receivers out there. The games I've gone to, his target is usually Kershaw. But you're right; we have a decent defense and a great offensive line that keeps Miller protected, so he can get off some of those longer passes. It's Marshalltown's in for a fight.
Yeah, and it'll be really interesting in the playoffs. Who's Fort Dodge going to play? We still don't know, and it'll be an interesting matchup, whoever they play.
Yeah. Who does it look like they're going to play? You have any idea?
I've got some guesses. I could see Waukee, Johnston, or Dowling Catholic. Okay. That's my guess. One of those threes.
Well, the Catholics are usually pretty tough down there at Dowling.
Yeah.
And Waukee, I'll tell you, that neighborhood out there is exploding. So I know they have some great wrestlers. I don't know about their football team, but you ever been to Waukee?
Oh, beautiful school.
It is really. It wasn't even there just a few years ago. And Waukee was just a little town on the edge of Des Moines, a little farm town, it looked like.
It's grown a lot, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, quite a bit. Way just really explosive growth down there. Anyway, St. Edmund is in town.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game this week, Manson Northwest Webster.
Manson Northwest Webster, we're throwing down with the Cougars.
Yeah.
All right. What's your prediction here, Alex? Are you going to give me a prediction?
No, and I'll give you a prediction.
All right.
I think the Gales end the season with a win. You heard it here.
Yeah.
Gales end the season with a win.
Now you're just
I'm calling it.
Now you're just not sucking up to the home.
No.
Okay.
It also helps that the other team is 0-8. So.
So this isn't much of it may be a rivalry, but it's not Titanic by any stretch.
No, it's not. They've both struggled, but it's still a big game for both teams.
The Cougars are 0-8. That is a poor showing for Manson.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had, of course, over the years, decent teams and poor teams like any school. But I'm surprised to hear they're 0-8. What is St. Edmund now?
They're 3-5. So
Did they
5
win
straight
3?
losses, I think.
Yeah. Well, no. Let's see. The first game I went to, that was Panorama, and they got whipped.
Yeah.
The quarterback was a big kid, just ran over our kids. And yeah, I know that. I haven't. I went out to one other St. Edmund game, and they were getting beat so bad I left. So they are 3-5 though.
Yeah, 3-5. So they've got a couple of wins. They beat Eagle Grove. Can't remember who else they beat, to be honest, but but we'll see what happens. And I think they'll end the season with a win. That's what I'm thinking. So
in just a few years, in 5 years, everybody's going to have trouble beating Eagle Grove. That's because of Prestige Packing.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a lot of folks. There's going to be a lot of folks come to our town. There's going to be a lot of folks come to Webster City, Eagle Grove, and Clarion.
I don't know if you heard, but Eagle Grove, I think they canceled their entire year. They after I think week 3 or 4, all done. They
quit.
Yeah. I think they were playing like 12 kids or something like that.
Oh no!
It was bad. So they've. I think they had a game here tonight that was canceled, of course. So it's been about a month or so where
Eagle Grove is canceled. Eagle Grove just flat out canceled.
Yeah, Eagle Grove's done right now. So I hope you're right. I hope Eagle Grove does have a bounce back in here soon.
Yeah, I hope they do too. I was young back in the covered wagon days, but Eagle Grove, was a thriving school. I was in the middle of the baby boom, so that was all the schools were full then. It was a different world entirely. Anyway, any other sports updates that we need?
No, I think that's about it. Iowa Central has a big game against Ellsworth, kind of almost a revenge game for their head coach. He was the head coach over at Ellsworth for about, I think, 3 or 4 years. So that'll be an interesting game as here in Fort Dodge here tomorrow.
Iowa Central Ellsworth at noon?
Yeah.
I love going to Iowa Central games. You want to talk about a difference between high school to Iowa Central? It's huge.
Oh,
I mean, the Iowa Central kids out there, you can't call them kids. I mean, there's 6'5", 300-pound guys out there, and they're playing real smash mouth football. I mean, that's great football.
And a lot of great athletes. They got kids from Florida, from Texas, from all over, and it's been a great year for them, or a bounce back year, and they're a competitive team this year.
Yeah, last weekend, I think it was Iowa Central's homecoming. I went to Iowa. Was it last week? Yeah. Or I don't know. Maybe it was the week before. But anyway, they had a lot of people out there that day. But Iowa Central, if you're a real football fan, you should check them out tomorrow at noon because they're a good team. They're a good, solid team. All right. What time's the game get started on what channel?
It starts 92-1 the Eagle at 7.
That's for Fort Dodge Senior High.
For Fort Dodge.
At 7 o'clock.
Yep. Right at 7. So we'll do a pregame show before that.
So okay. And St. Edmund is on Sunday 99.7?
Yep, at 7. So
at 7. Who does our Gales games? Is it Greg?
Yep, it is Greg. It's Greg Woods.
Greg Wood, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it is Greg. Yeah, who does the Mind Boggle thing on this radio station on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
He's with the Alzheimer's group, I believe. And
he is.
He's a sports guy and a radio guy. He was a radio guy before he did any of these things. Does a heck of a job.
He does.
All right. Alex Benzagala is our news and sports director. Thank you, Alex.
All right. See ya.
Yeah, see ya. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, 320.
Buying flooring can be a tough decision, especially when you're just not sure how it's going to look in your home. What if you don't like it? Oops. That's why it pays to see me, Dean Sternberg, at Jim's Carpet One Floor and Home. Come see us and ask about the Carpet One Beautiful Guarantee. If you don't love your new Carpet One carpet, hardwood, vinyl, tile, or laminate, we will replace it free, including installation. Get a floor you're guaranteed to love and ask about the beautiful guarantee at Jim's Carpet One Floor and Home, Fort Dodge.
When the need for senior care arises, there's no place like home. Your loved ones should never have to give up living at home. Visiting Angels will provide home care for your mom or dad at home up to 24 hours per day, including personal care, meals, and light housework. You'll select your professional caregiver with Visiting Angels. Look up visitingangels.com or call 877-374-LIVE. That's 877-374-LIVE. Franchises are available. Visiting Angels, America's choice in senior home care.
Have you ever wondered how the brain works? What makes us tick? Join me, Greg Woods, every Wednesday morning for all the latest news on the brain, on aging, and the science behind it all. It's The Mind Boggles, every Wednesday morning at 8:30 on AM 1400 KVFD.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talks.
I am neither he nor she, Mr. nor Mrs., male nor female. And the only part of me that's transitioning are my heels from day to evening. I am simply I, and I cannot be labeled. I am gender fluid.
That's cool. As long as none of it gets on us.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
Yeah, that must be a Democrat running for something in the state of Iowa. I don't know. It's 322 AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I don't know what happened. I don't know who I gave my phone number to, my cell phone number to, who I shouldn't have, but it rings all the time. Telemarketers from God knows where. From California. This last one was from Plantation, New York. I don't know anybody from Plantation, New York. I don't know anyone from Plantation, New York. Beautiful day today, and that's the good news. I suppose you heard that there is a church in Des Moines, the Plymouth Congregational Church. The Plymouth Congregational Church put up a banner, a Black Lives Matter banner. And they put up this banner that seems to symbolize African-American defiance of the police. And of course, the media in Des Moines went completely crazy, obsequious, fawning admiration for Plymouth Congregational Church for taking this bold move. Now, the pastor of Plymouth Congregational has asked for a call to conscience and meditation and prayer, presumably that the congregation would feel God's command to align with Black Lives Matter. I got to tell you, this kind of maudlin, self-serving white liberal guilt usually results in a food drive or something else to make the congregants feel better. It will make life more difficult for police officers. I mean, this is, once again, this is such a self-serving act. Yes, we're going to reflect in conscience and prayer. We're going to make some little minor statement. We're going to have some little food drive, and nothing will ever really change. Nothing will ever really change. We've thrown billions and billions, probably trillions of dollars at the problem of inner city poverty, and it's still there. We've instituted laws that require a certain number of minorities in the finest universities in our country. And the fact really is that most African Americans still live in poverty. Still live in poverty. Rather than all this maudlin, self-serving white liberal guilt, let me suggest something else. Maybe an honest conversation about race is in order. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, an honest conversation about race is absolutely the last thing the Democratic Party wants. Now, this would be a conversation that included the violence, contempt, and hostility police encounter in some minority neighborhoods. The lack of cooperation, even in the case of the most severe crimes, including murder. Police go to some of these communities for a terrible crime, and nobody knows a thing. Nobody knows anything. The insistence that no matter what life choices are made, it's the fault of people like the cops or the people who attend Plymouth Congregational Church. Could be that's true. Maybe it is their fault. Maybe it is the Plymouth Congregational Church's fault. Because maybe God expects some sort of accountability. Maybe God expects more from all of us. Rather than reflect and have a call to conscience, maybe we can pray on that. Maybe we could pray that we finally have the guts to have a real conversation about race and the causes of poverty and violence. And let the truth be known. Though the heavens fall, let the truth be known. Let the liberal heavens fall. Because it would require something more than prayer. It would require something more than giving to the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center. It would require you, Larry Liberal, to admit that you have benefited all of these years from poverty, from the cheap labor that you have forced people to undertake and its consequences. And you would have to do something. But you're not going to, are you? Because it's always the cops' fault.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
Let my people go.
Divine Intervention is online at yourfortdodge.com, on Twitter at JMike1400.
Let my people go. Let them go, doggone it. Stop demanding we think and talk the way you want us to. AM 1400 KBFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. 327, the news is next.
A church house, gin house, a schoolhouse, outhouse.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The Iowa National Guard reports a soldier has died in a swimming accident. Radio Iowa's Dar Danielson reports.
Guard spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Mike One says 19-year-old Private First Class Matthew Cox of Leon was swimming with 4 other soldiers at a beach at the Naval Station Guantanamo Bay Tuesday. One says Cox was overpowered by a strong current and went under the water. Rescuers pulled his body out Wednesday afternoon. Cox was born in Des Moines and was homeschooled. He enlisted in the Iowa Army National Guard on October 11th of 2017 and was a military police officer with the 186 MP Company. He deployed to Cuba in July of 2018. Funeral arrangements are pending. Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson.
Vermont Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will be in Fort Dodge this Sunday. He's joining 4th District U.S. House candidate J.D. Scholten at a town hall at Iowa Central Community College. The town hall event is from 11:30 to 12:30 at the Biohealth Science Auditorium at Iowa Central. Sanders and Scholten will be holding a discussion focusing on Social Security and issues impacting seniors. The president of Social Security Works, John Bowman, will also speak. Sanders and Scholten will also be speaking at a rally in Sioux City at Morningside College on Saturday from 5:30 to 7. And after their appearance in Fort Dodge on Sunday, Scholten and Sanders will speak at a rally in Ames on Sunday from 4 to 5:30 at Iowa State University. Iowa's unemployment rate in September stayed at 2.5%, unchanged from August. Iowa Workforce Development spokesperson Corey Kelly says only Hawaii has a lower jobless rate, which rose to 2.2% last month. According to Kelly, it's a very challenging time for Iowa businesses that are trying to hold on to employees.
Normally, when the unemployment rate ticks down, you see wages increase. So there's a lot of competition out there.
The IWD report shows the total number of working Iowans increased to 1,644,400 in September. That's 1,900 higher than August.
Total non-farm employment remains up 17,600 jobs versus last September. So goods-producing sectors continue to fuel annual growth and contributed 14,300 jobs over the past 12 months.
There were 41,800 Iowans listed as unemployed in September. That's down from 50,000 1 year ago. In local sports, Fort Dodge football is on the road at Marshalltown tonight with radio coverage on 92.1. The Eagles starting at 6:45. A win tonight over the 4-4 Bobcats would put the Dodgers at 7-2 to end the regular season and could give Fort Dodge a home playoff game. Offensive coordinator Nick Mosier told me how he plans to attack the Bobcats defense.
We'll just do what we've been doing. We've got areas that we think we can have some success. I think we can have some success running the ball. I think we can have some success throwing the ball. But we've got to get Dasan going. We've got to be able to get Dasan going running the ball. We've got to be able to get Dasan going with catching the ball. If you get Tyson Kershaw going early in the game, I think he's a lot better for you than waiting.
St. Edmund looks to end the season with a victory over Manson Northwest Webster at Dodger Stadium. The game's at 7 with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7. South Central Calhoun faces rival Pocahontas area with the district title on the line. Radio coverage is at 6:45 on 105.9 The Beach. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. News and weather brought to you by the committee to re-elect Merrill Leffler supervisor.
Merrill Leffler has been an outstanding supervisor. With his long history as a successful business person, Merrill Leffler has earned the respect of his colleagues, the courthouse staff, and the public. It's obvious Merrill loves our community and our county. He understands we're on the verge of real change and offers you his years of experience, his passion for our community to make things better for you, your family, for all of us. Re-elect Merrill Leffler, forward-thinking, progressive.
Paid for by committee to re-elect Merrill Leffler.
AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's 3:31 in the weather. Sunny today with a high of 70. Overnight, clear with a low of 39. Tomorrow, sunny, high 46. Not real warm, and it'll be windy, by the way. On Sunday, sunny with a high of 60. On Monday, sunny with a high of 60 once again. Tuesday, sunny with a high of 55. On Wednesday, sunny with a high of 55. Thursday, a chance of rain once again, mostly cloudy with a high of 52. Right now, 68 degrees at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Yeah, I mentioned the farmers are going full tilt bozo out in the field. News and weather brought to you by the committee to re-elect Meryl Leffler. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Loftus Flight Receivers Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 307 South 12th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Loftus Flight Receivers Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-3156 or online at www.loftusflightreceiversfuneralhome.com. My friend Jerry Black has died at the age of 86. Jerry, good man. Haven't seen him in recent years. It'll teach me once again if I should never put off going to see an old friend. Block of Fort Dodge has died. He died Thursday at Trinity Regional Medical Center. Services are pending at Loftus Flight Receivers Funeral Home for Jerry Black. Bud Estegard has died at the age of 82. Bud Estegard of Fort Dodge has passed. There will be a service for Bud Estegard at Trinity United Methodist Church on Monday, the 22nd, at 10 o'clock in the morning with a lunch to follow. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Loftus Flight Receivers Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 307 South 12th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Loftus Flight Receivers Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-3156 or online at www.loftusflightreceiversfuneralhome.com. 3:33 at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. 68 degrees. With a look at the closing market report, here's Dwayne Murley.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. December corn closed down 3 3/4 at 367. March down 3 1/2 at 379 1/2. May down 3 1/4 at 387. July down 3 cents at 392 3/4. November soybeans down 6 3/4 at 856 3/4. January down 7 1/4 at 870 1/2. March down 7 cents at 883 1/2. May down 6 3/4 at 897. December wheat closed up 1 3/4 at 514 3/4. Soybean meal down 3.20 a ton at 313.10. October live cattle down 82 cents at 112 1/4. December down 40 cents at 116.77. October feeder cattle down 60 cents at 154.65. November down 32 at 154.10. December lean hogs down 70 cents at 51.60. February down 120 at 59.02. I'm Dwayne Murley.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's 3:34 and 68 degrees.
The USDA recommends Americans eat 2 servings of fish a week for good health. Hi, I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. Fish has healthy omega-3 fats. Some choices that are high in omega-3s and lower in mercury are salmon, trout, and sardines. Cooking methods that don't add extra fat to fish are recommended, such as grilling, broiling, and roasting, even baking. Herbs and spices, lemon and lime juice can add flavor without adding salt. Shellfish also counts as a healthy serving of fish. Oysters, mussels, clams, and squid, which is also called calamari. Be sure to cook oysters, mussels, and clams safely. Canned seafood is a quick way to get your servings, salmon and tuna, for example. While canned white tuna is higher in omega-3s, the USDA says canned light tuna is lower in mercury. You can get creative with fish, opting for a shrimp stir-fry, grilled fish tacos, or salmon patties. Canned tuna and salmon for sandwiches have less sodium than most deli meats. Omega-3 fats from seafood can help improve nervous system development in babies and children, but how much should they eat? Serve seafood to children twice a week in portions appropriate for their age and appetite. Eating seafood doesn't have to be expensive. Whiting, tilapia, sardines, canned tuna, and some frozen seafood are usually lower cost options. I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. With Healthy Living.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Hundo P. Hundo P. Adjective. Short for being 100% sure or certain. As in, if we get a puppy, I'll Hundo P always walk it.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Adopt U.S. Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
I'm State Auditor Mary Mosman. I'm proud to be the first female state auditor in Iowa's history, but I'm running for re-election based on my qualifications. I'm a CPA and have 15 years of leadership experience at the state and county levels, including 5 years leading the State Auditor's Office, one of the largest CPA firms in our state. That makes me the most qualified candidate for state auditor on the ballot. The State Auditor's Office has been led by a CPA for nearly 40 consecutive years, and provides great value to all Iowans. Iowa is nationally known for implementing auditing standards and investigating waste, fraud, and abuse when it takes place in government. Let's keep Iowa moving forward by maintaining a CPA as the state auditor. Only a CPA state auditor can fully perform the statutory duties of the office. I'm Mary Mosman, the only CPA running for state auditor, and I'm asking for your vote.
Paid for by Mosman for State Auditor.
Welcome to Jimmy John's.
Hi, your new 9-grain wheat sub is so good. How do you make it?
With the highest quality ingredients and love. I mean, we definitely don't sing at lullabies when it's baking. Lullabies are what parents sing to babies.
Right.
And we don't use a baby carrier to carry the warm, fresh 9-grain wheat subs to the cooling racks. I mean, they're not babies. They're for making delicious sandwiches.
Okay, I'll take a turkey tom.
Oh, don't name them. It makes it harder.
Try our new 9-grain wheat sub, Jimmy John's. Wheat yeah, freak yeah.
We are the land of the free because of the brave. Alpha Media and Graham Tire want to thank our local military men and women for their service. We'll have our Wall of the Brave displayed at Graham Tire in Fort Dodge. Stop out to Graham Tire and sign the wall as a show of support for our military. You can even give a shout out to an active or former military person at yourfortdodge.com. All names will be recognized on air, and your service man or woman might even be the winner of a grand prize package worth over $800. On Friday, November 9th, we'll announce the lucky winner. Then on Saturday, November 10th, we'll have a live broadcast party for our winner, all nominees, and our listeners. Nominate your former or active military service person now at yourfortdodge.com. Then head out to Graham Tire in Fort Dodge and sign our Wall of the Brave. This special veterans promotion is sponsored by Graham Tire, Sestec Builders, Rampton Trucking, Misty Harbor, J&M Construction, Iowa Outdoor Store, Sears Hometown Store, Olson Ironworks, the Blue Moose Saloon, and Alpha Media Fort Dodge.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right, Friday. That means we're going to talk sports with Nevin Mulholland and Randy Kuhlman coming up at 4 o'clock right after the news at 4 o'clock. So I hope you stick around for that because we are the voice of sports in north central Iowa and perhaps the entire world. I don't know. Joining me now is Dan Lewandowski. He is the director of the Webster County Veterans Affairs. Hi, Dan.
Good afternoon.
How long have you been in town? You've been in town a few years now.
Since November of 2001.
Oh, really? That's longer than I thought, really.
Right.
So, gosh, that's 17 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Good. So you raised your kids here pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
My youngest just turned 18.
Wow. Well, yeah, he doesn't know any. Is it a female?
Is she?
Okay, female.
Yeah.
She doesn't know anything else then, other than Fort Dodge.
Right.
That's not bad.
No,
that's not bad.
No.
You're from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just east of St. Cloud.
All right. Well, St. Cloud, you probably, people from Minnesota never like to hear this, but I used to go up to Alexandria fishing all the time.
Yeah.
Which is, it's kind of on the. What are they? That's a granite city, isn't it? St. Cloud, isn't that what they call it?
Yeah.
That's a nice town.
Yeah.
What, 50, 60,000 in there
Oh,
somewhere?
no.
It's not that big?
Well, if you can encompass the surrounding towns, you got St. Joe, Way Park, Sauk Rapids, Cold Spring. Then it's probably about 80, 90,
Okay.
So it's bigger than most people think,
All right. Yeah. Well, I thought, it's been a while since I've been up. It's been quite a long time now that I think about it. Time goes by so fast for me. I think, well, it was only a few years ago, but it was 25 or 30,
Anyway, what's going on, Dan?
Well, I'm here to just kind of tell you a little bit what's happening in the world of the Webster County Veterans Office.
Excellent.
And we're having a outreach event next Tuesday at the Army Reserve Center. So if you're a veteran, know of a veteran, send them out there at 2:00. It'll be it's supposed to be a 2-hour block. It may run a little longer depending. But we're going to do it from 2 to 4, and then again from 6 to 8 at night for those that work during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Afford them that opportunity, and it's just going to information what may be out there for them, things they might not have even known of or consider. And we're going to have like different speakers, a 15-minute block. I got myself. I have representatives from Grassley and Ernst's office will be there. I have the local VA clinic personnel will be there, and also a representative from the Veterans Cemetery down in Van Meter will be coming up here.
Okay.
Kind of a option that most people don't even consider or think of, because nobody's ever going to die. We're all going to live forever. So
you can really fall into you want to talk about something you put off. I've been trying to get a will written for 3 years and I still haven't got it done. It's my fault entirely. Right. But that's that. Maybe if I get reminded of that enough times, even though I expect to live a long life, who knows? Mm-hmm. We all do. We all want to, but you never know.
Well, the thing about the Van Meter Cemetery is veterans don't know that's a free cost to them. Mm-hmm. And then also, if they got a spouse, then the spouse can be buried there as well.
Right.
And there's variables that the representative, they have more expertise on than I do.
Sure.
But
they still have that $250 veterans death benefit. My dad died 30 some years ago, and when he did, he gave the family $250, which wasn't a lot of money even then, but it was something. Do they still do that, or do you know?
Yeah, they do. It depends if you have a VA disability rating. Then you get.
If you have a VA disability rating now, yeah. I think he did. He was wounded twice.
Yeah, it's gone up.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it? 300 now?
300.
That's still not huge, is it?
Yeah.
It could be 500 in 2018 dollars, and that'd be nice, but it's not gonna.
I want to say 300, but it might be a little higher.
Okay.
For some reason, I have a mental block on that right now, but so I don't want to say exactly.
Okay.
But if you want to find out exactly, I'll look it up for you. But also, I want to also tell you a little happenings coming up on Veterans Day in November. That's right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna, excuse me, once again, Hy-Vee will be having their free breakfast for veterans, which
excellent. That's wonderful that Tim and his crew out there in Hy-Vee do that.
You're darn right.
And Applebee's used to do it. I don't know if they do it as well.
Well, the thing's kind of, because Veterans Day is on Sunday this year.
Veterans Day is on Sunday. So when is Tim and his boys out?
They're going to do it Monday. Monday morning.
Now, Monday, what date?
That's the 12th.
November 12th.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, so I talked to Tim in person about that, and they always put on such a nice welcome.
They do. I mean, Tim's out there working and picking up plates, and all the Hy-Vee managers are very involved, and they all thank us and shake our hands and thank us for our service. That's a very nice gesture, and I like to go out there. I see a lot of people I know, of course, and it's really kind of a social occasion. It's just, I mean, I think that's a great thing that Hy-Vee and Tim Flattery out there do.
Well, you go out there and you have a good meal. You trade war stories and reconnect with people you haven't seen for a while. So it's a great outreach, and I'm glad they do it.
I just called Tim Flattery. It's Tim Flaherty. Flattery. We have a few Flatteries in town too. So.
But also with that, on the 11th, which is Sunday, I got a hold of Applebee's and Village Inn, and they'll be having free meals for veterans.
Really?
Yeah.
On Sunday, the 11th.
On Sunday, if I understood them right.
Okay.
All right. And then also, of course, St. Ed's always got a ceremony at 10 o'clock. And St.
Ed's does a great job, too.
They do. And I would highly encourage people to really appreciate that and turn out for that. And
now, is this St. Ed's thing? Is this on Sunday or Monday? I would find it hard to believe they would do it on Sunday.
Honestly,
you go to mass on Sunday.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know that one. I haven't found out.
It wouldn't be in the morning at St. Edmunds. I wouldn't think.
I'm thinking Monday, but again, there'll be more PR put out on that next week or so.
Yeah.
And then I do know at noon on the 12th, Iowa Central will be having their appreciation for veterans.
Iowa Central.
Yeah, they've been doing
Good.
that for the last couple of years. And then last year, and I put a call into senior high, I didn't get a reply back, but senior high had a nice appreciation for veterans. Last year was very well. The kids did a very outstanding program for us. And again, if they have it this year, by all means, get out and attend. And these, especially like senior high, they put a lot of time, effort into that. And
Well, I'm glad the attitude toward the military and veterans has changed. I will never forget coming off a camp in California. I was 19 years old. A bunch of long hairs out there with signs protesting the war and calling us baby killers. I remember thinking, I'm 19 and I'm from Algona, Iowa. I never killed anybody, let alone a baby, for God's sake. But they didn't seem to care.
Yeah, they group you together.
We
though.
started yelling at them, take a bath. So they did. Now they're running for Congress somewhere, I suppose.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all. I just wanted to.
You just wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, a little bit. And again, it's going to be on Tuesday, the 23rd. That's this coming Tuesday at 2:00. And by all means, just get the word out. This is an event that you may go there and in one ear out the other, but there might be that one thing that you're going to go, hey, I'm glad I came.
Yeah, I
So
think
you never know.
Again, I'm delighted that younger men and their sacrifice, considerable sacrifice in the Iraq, Afghanistan wars, which are ongoing, by the way.
Right.
I'm glad they didn't have to come home to the out and out hostility that guys of my generation did. And the sad thing about Korean War veterans, it was a terrible war and a terrible place to have a war. They came home and it's like nobody said anything to them. Oh, you're back. Okay. The World War II veterans, they got their just desserts. And I'm glad to see again that the attitude has changed. Anyway, you got to go.
Right.
But I know you're a baseball fan. So are you happy about Boston and Houston, or would you rather Houston got it done?
I really didn't care. I mean,
who cares? Huh?
I kind of wanted both of them to win. So, when it's a situation like that, it's okay. So I'm happy for Boston. I would like to see Milwaukee go.
You'd like to see the Brewers
just
get in
because
there?
they haven't been there. Always the underdog. But
the Brewers never have been there, have they?
Back in '82, they were.
Did they win the series?
No, they lost against St. Louis.
Lost. That's right, they did.
That's when they were in the American League.
In the American League.
Right. So,
the Brewers still confuse me. Every time I think Dodgers and the Brewers for the National League title, it still fakes me out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Dan Lewandowski is our guest, and he is, again, the director of Webster County Veterans Affairs. Dan, you got to go, so I'm going to turn you loose, buddy. And
okay,
maybe we'll see a Boston Brewers World Series. I think I'm going to be on the other side of that, though, pal. I'm going to go for the American League this year.
If the Dodgers go, then I want Boston for sure.
Then you want Boston for sure.
I always go to American League then.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know what to hope for you then. Am I going to sit here and say, well, I hope the Brewers get beat so we can both root for Boston?
Well, I won't lose no sleep over it.
Well, we'll just enjoy the game. Yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll just enjoy the game. Dan Lewandowski is our guest. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
I remember a teacher that I had. Now, I went through the 7th grade. I went to the 7th grade. And I left home when I was 10 years old because I was hungry. And I used to, this is true. I work in the summer and I go to school in the winter. But I had this one teacher. He was the principal of the Harrison School in Vincennes, Indiana. To me, this was the greatest teacher, a real sage of my time, anyhow. He had such wisdom. And we were all reciting the Pledge of Allegiance one day. And he walked over, this little old teacher, Mr. Laswell was his name. Mr. Laswell, he says, he says, I've been listening to you boys and girls recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester, and it seems as though it's becoming monotonous to you. If I may I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each word. I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all of my worldly goods to give without self-pity, allegiance, my love and my devotion to the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there's respect. Because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts, freedom is everybody's job. United. That means that we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose. All divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common purpose. And that's love for country. And to the republic, a state in which sovereign power is invested in representatives chosen by the people to govern. And government is the people. And it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation. And justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others. For all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance: under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
You're listening to AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's 354, 68 degrees.
I'm State Auditor Mary Mosman. I'm proud to be the first female state auditor in Iowa's history, but I'm running for re-election based on my qualifications. I'm a CPA and have 15 years of leadership experience at the state and county levels, including 5 years leading the State Auditor's Office, one of the largest CPA firms in our state. That makes me the most qualified candidate for state auditor on the ballot. The State Auditor's Office has been led by a CPA for nearly 40 consecutive years and provides great value to all Iowans. Iowa is nationally known for implementing auditing standards and investigating waste, fraud, and abuse when it takes place in government. Let's keep Iowa moving forward by maintaining a CPA as the state auditor. Only a CPA state auditor can fully perform the statutory duties of the office. I'm Mary Mosman, the only CPA running for state auditor, and I'm asking for your vote.
Paid for by Mosman for State Auditor.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Do you ever get tired of watching bad things happen to people?
Sticking up for you when no one else will.
That's right. Sticking up for you and no one else will. I'll tell you, don't look to either of the major political parties to save us, because it ain't going to happen. This isn't so much. I know the election looks like the elites against the elites. And to some degree it is, but we have to make it the people against the elites. We have to make this the people against the elites, because make no mistake about it, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are elitist, and they serve a very narrow constituency, and the rest of us are just standing around. The rest of us are just standing around going, hey, how about us? Do we get any representation? Do we get to define our own freedom? Do we get to use the language that we've always used? Do we get to, yes, question, and I believe we should question everything. Do we get to question the redefinition of words and the appropriation of culture that the Democratic Party has been engaged in for a long time, and are now trying to shame you for being who you are, for who your parents were, grandparents, back into history ad infinitum. And the Republican Party wants to do dumb things, and it was dumb, like privatizing Medicaid. If the Republican Party gets beat this year, it'll be because of the privatization of Medicaid. And their rationale for the privatization of Medicaid, it sounds like this. Well, gee, we really can't afford it. We can't afford Medicaid. We had to privatize it. And I guess you old and poor people out there are just going to have to drop dead because we really can't afford you anymore. If you don't have your own, if you aren't capable of paying for your own health insurance, I don't care if you're 85, I guess you're just going to have to drop dead. All this babbling, the Democrats are so concerned about keeping the public employees happy. They're so concerned about making sure that they're going to fully fund public education, which means increases in benefits and increases in salary, mainly for the teachers union, but for all public employees, that they don't get. They have the biggest stick in their room right now. And if they got a bunch of bumper stickers that said Republicans to the people of Iowa on Medicaid drop dead, they'd be further than 2 measly points ahead in the polls in the governor's race. You know, I'll tell you, Reynolds and Hubble, they're the Somonex twins. They're two of the most boring people I have ever seen or heard run for governor of the state of Iowa. It's the worst since Terry Branstad and Lowell Junkins. Yes, Lowell Junkins was a real human being who ran against Terry Branstad at one time. And those two were the most boring people who ever ran for governor until the Reynolds-Hubble race. Because they're boring. And what's Fred Hubble going to do? Oh, he's Planned Parenthood. Well, good for you, Fred. Good for you. Is that going to pay a bill for somebody, Fred? Most of the workers in the state of Iowa are private sector workers. I haven't heard the Democratic Party mention a thing about private sector workers. Oh, we have all these plans and we have all these things. Oh, we're going to give them to you. No, thank you. We would like the dignity of work, and we would like to have our labor recognized as worth something of value, not your programs. Thank you very much, liberals. It's 4 o'clock. This is KVFD Fort Dodge, Iowa.
I'm Dave Ramsey. Join me every Monday through Friday afternoon from 5 to 8 p.m. on AM 1400 KVFD Fort Dodge.
A wide range of responses. Lisa Brady, Fox News. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo suggesting many options are on the table if Saudi Arabia's leaders played a role in the suspected killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. President Trump not ruling out sanctions.
Something that we don't like. It's very serious stuff. And we're going to get to the bottom of it.
But he says for now, it's too soon while the investigation continues. He also says he plans to work with Congress on a response. Pompeo, meantime, visiting Mexico to work on help with handling the mass caravan of Central American immigrants heading for the U.S. border.
Mexico has announced it will, when appropriate, return migrants coming through Mexico to their home countries. Secretary Pompeo says the U.S. and Mexico are working to address the issue.
We are quickly reaching a point which appears to be a moment of crisis, record numbers of migrants.
The Mexican government is also coordinating with the United Nations Refugee Agency to help deal with refugees and migrants heading north from Central America. Secretary Pompeo is meeting with officials from both the current and incoming Mexican governments. A new government takes over there December 1st.
Fox's Rich Edson at the State Department. A lot of this going around.
Feeling very lucky.
She's convinced she's got the winning ticket for tonight's Mega Millions drawing. The jackpot now $1 billion. The odds of winning, still about 1 in 302 million.
You have a better chance of being attacked by a shark. You have a better chance of becoming a saint. You have a better chance of getting a royal flush in poker than winning this jackpot.
Fox Business Network's Christina Partsinevelos with the hopeful at a convenience store in Manhattan. It is the second biggest lottery jackpot ever in the U.S. This is Fox News.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
It's a crisp fall morning. Time for your daily pumpkin soy latte. As you wait for your coffee, you get a buzz. No, it's not your boss wanting extra whipped cream, but your ADT video doorbell. It's a package. Your new latte machine. No more $5 PSLs. Barista service. Brought to you by ADT. Designing and installing a smart home just for you. Backed by best-in-class 24/7 protection. Learn more at ADT.com. ADT. Real protection. License information available at ADT.com.
President Trump signing a memorandum on water. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has this live.
Lisa, the president's on a midterm campaign swing through Arizona right now, but he took some time to sign an order pertaining to California's water supply. This memorandum directs the Secretaries of Commerce and the Interior
to streamline approvals for federal water infrastructure and to eliminate all unnecessary burdens, significantly speeding up the environmental review and approval process. We will have it done very, very quickly.
He says too many rules and regulations have made it too expensive and difficult to build water infrastructure, and that too much water goes into the ocean. The president was joined by House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy from California and 4 other California congressmen, some of whom are in very tight midterm races, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. In Kentucky, police have a man in custody accused of plotting to attack schools.
Troopers interviewed him in regards to the online threats and through their investigation found evidence of a credible and imminent threat to Shelby and Anderson County schools.
State Police Sergeant Joshua Lawson says a detailed plan of attack was found, along with a gun, dozens of rounds of ammunition, a bulletproof vest, and internet searches on how to conduct a school shooting, leading to the arrest of 21-year-old Dylan Jarrow. They closed schools in Anderson County, Kentucky today because of the threat. The LA Dodgers hoping to punch a ticket to the World Series tonight. They have a 3-2 lead over the Brewers heading into Game 6 of the National League Championship Series. The Red Sox await the winner after knocking out the defending World Series champion Astros in the American League finale last night. Overall, a mixed day on Wall Street for the week. The Dow and the S&P finish higher, but the NASDAQ down for a 3rd week in a row. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The Iowa National Guard reports a soldier has died in a swimming accident. Radio Iowa's Dar Danielson reports.
Guard spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Mike One says 19-year-old Private First Class Matthew Cox of Leon was swimming with 4 other soldiers at a beach at the Naval Station Guantanamo Bay Tuesday. One says Cox was overpowered by a strong current and went under the water. Rescuers pulled his body out Wednesday afternoon. Cox was born in Des Moines and was homeschooled. He enlisted in the Iowa Army National Guard on October 11th of 2017 and was a military police officer with the 186 MP Company. He deployed to Cuba in July of 2018. Funeral arrangements are pending. Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson.
Vermont Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will be in Fort Dodge this Sunday. He's joining 4th District U.S. House candidate J.D. Scholten at a town hall at Iowa Central Community College. The town hall event is from 11:30 to 12:30 at the Biohealth Science Auditorium at Iowa Central. Sanders and Scholten will be holding a discussion focusing on Social Security and issues impacting seniors. The president of Social Security Works, John Bowman, will also speak. Sanders and Scholten will also be speaking at a rally in Sioux City at Morningside College on Saturday from 5:30 to 7. And after their appearance in Fort Dodge on Sunday, Schulten and Sanders will speak at a rally in Ames on Sunday from 4 to 5:30 at Iowa State University. Iowa's unemployment rate in September stayed at 2.5%, unchanged from August. Iowa Workforce Development spokesperson Corey Kelly says only Hawaii has a lower jobless rate, which rose to 2.2% last month. According to Kelly, it's a very challenging time for Iowa businesses that are trying to hold on to employees.
Normally, when the unemployment rate ticks down, you see wages increase. So there's a lot of competition out there.
The IWD report shows the total number of working Iowans increased to 1,644,400 in September. That's 1,900 higher than August.
Total non-farm employment remains up 17,600 jobs versus last September. So goods producing sectors continue to fuel annual growth and contributed 14,300 jobs over the past 12 months.
There were 41,800 Iowans listed as unemployed in September. That's down from 50,000 1 year ago. In local sports, Fort Dodge football is on the road at Marshalltown tonight with radio coverage on 92.1 The Eagles starting at 6:45. A win tonight over the 4-4 Bobcats would put the Dodgers at 7-2 to end the regular season and could give Fort Dodge a home playoff game. Offensive coordinator Nick Mosier told me how he plans to attack the Bobcats defense.
We'll just do what we've been doing. We've got areas that we think we can have some success. I think we can have some success running the ball. I think we can have some success throwing the ball. But we've got to get Dasan going. We've got to be able to get Dasan going running the ball. We've got to be able to get Dasan going with catching the ball. If you get Tyson Kershaw going early in the game, I think he's a lot better for you than waiting.
St. Edmund looks to end the season with a victory over Manson Northwest Webster at Dodger Stadium. Games at 7 with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7. South Central Calhoun faces rival Pocahontas area with the district title on the line. Radio coverage is at 6:45 on 105.9 The Beach. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Sunny skies and calm this afternoon with a high of 66. Northwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows level off around 39. 46 tomorrow. Lots of sunshine outside. Dry and turning much warmer Sunday and Monday with highs in the upper 50s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 68.
The opinions and remarks expressed on this radio program by the host, guests, and call-in listeners are the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not reflect the views of management or ownership of KVFD AM 1400.
Welcome to Jimmy John's.
Hi, your new 9-grain wheat sub is so good. How do you make it?
With the highest quality ingredients and love. I mean, we definitely don't sing at lullabies when it's baking. Lullabies are what parents sing to babies.
Right.
And we don't use a baby carrier to carry the warm, fresh 9-grain wheat subs to the cooling racks. I mean, they're not babies. They're for making delicious sandwiches.
Okay, I'll take a turkey tom.
Oh, don't name them. It makes it harder.
Try our new 9-grain wheat sub, Jimmy John's. Wheat yeah, freak yeah.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talks.
You don't have bad luck. The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
If you don't listen to him, you suck.
He's sneaky, but he's right.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Actually, when I had my announcer guy there do that you suck thing, I wanted him to say, if you don't listen to him, you suck. You know, kind of draw it out a little bit. But he just said, you suck, and got off the air. So that's the way it is. We're talking sports now with Randy Kuhlman here at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Hi, Randy.
Mike, how you doing?
I'm fine. And, of course, Mulholland fails to show once again. Got a text from him. I have issues. And I said, texted him back. Yes, you do.
we all know that.
He has a lot of issues. That's for sure. So no Nevin again tonight because he has issues. I'm sure they're the emotional variety. But anyway, Fort Dodge is taking on Marshalltown tonight. And Alex Benzagala, our sports guy, was in here a little earlier and made a prediction that we're going to crush Marshalltown because they haven't won a game apparently. So
well, no, actually, Marshalltown I think is 4-4. Believe it
Are they 4-4?
Yeah. But I'm sure we're heavily favored, and hopefully we'll go down there and.
The Cougars, Manson Northwest hasn't won a game.
That's right, Manson's.
And that's who St. Edmund is playing tonight in town.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's kind of a grudge match between Manson and the Gales, but yeah, the Dodgers. Actually, Marshalltown's probably got one of their better teams they've had in a few years, but I think the Dodgers will handle them, and it'd be great. 7-2 is a great season, and get some kind of seeded in the playoffs. I think if they win tonight, they'll host their first playoff game, And so that would be a lot of fun. And so we'll see what happens. But
Alex was saying that one of their potential rivals for a playoff would be Dowling and Des Moines, which I would like to see, because the Maroons have always been a good football team. I don't know what kind of football team they have this year, but they've been a great football team.
They've only won 5 state champions,
Oh, yeah.
5 straight. But
how are they this year?
They
won 5 straight.
Yeah,
has
5
it been
straight.
that many?
Yeah, 5 in a row.
Wow.
They've been dominant, but this year they're down. This year, I think they've lost 1 game.
Oh,
They're
well,
down.
what a bunch of losers.
Yeah, I didn't know that about. That's too bad. We'd have to start off with a team like Dowling.
Well,
although,
it's
we
a
can play with them.
possibility. It's a possibility.
Yeah. Dowling's really good, although they're not the dominant teams that they've had the last 4 or 5 years. But I think they're rated in top 5 or maybe top 6 in the state. And be able to host Dowling here, boy, we'd have a big crowd for that. That'd be fun.
That would be fun, wouldn't it? That'd be
really
real.
would be.
That's what I mean. I'm hoping that happens. But
Yeah.
of course, we might get beat too. But might as well. I have a lot of faith in those Fort Dodge boys. I've been out to see them a couple of times this year, and they have a terrific offense, a very stubborn
They
defense,
do.
and they're motivated. And a lot of he would never accept the credit, but Matt Miller's done a hell of a job with that team. He has.
Absolutely.
Coach Matt Miller has done a
Absolutely.
hell of
Nick
a job.
Mosier is the offensive coordinator. Nick's
I
done
think he's a
great job.
volunteer too. I don't think Mosier gets paid. He just
Yeah,
does
I don't
because-
know if he gets paid. I know he works at Great Western Bank. But he does a tremendous job. And I'll tell you, that offense they run is as good as any college offense you want to see.
Yeah.
They spread it out and they throw it all over the field. And of course, they've got a great quarterback in Drake Miller, but they've got a number of really good wide receivers, out there too. But if you don't have a good offensive line blocking for you, it won't work. And so the offensive line's been playing well, and I think their defense has really gotten better and better as the year has gone on, and now they're playing really good defense too. So kudos to the coaching staff and the players, and hopefully they can finish the season strong and really show well in the playoffs.
I'll tell you, they know who Fort Dodge is at the state level now. After our state championship wrestlers last year, that was the greatest wrestling team I've seen come out of Fort Dodge. And Fort Dodge has had some great teams.
Yeah.
1980, I think they did the state championship, and the head coach of the wrestling team at the time was
Don Miller.
Don Miller, you betcha.
You bet. But it's amazing. I think this, but we talk. I'll say this because Nevin's not here. He would probably say it if he was. But Nevin's grandfather won like 8 state championships in wrestling.
Fred Cooper.
Yeah,
8.
Something like that. It's an enormous number of state championships that he won in wrestling.
They must have. Well, it's likely they had a very different system then. But usually you can only win 4 in the state of Iowa, 1 for every year that you freshman through senior year.
No, I mean he was the coach.
Oh, he was a coach.
Yeah, he was the coach. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know. I don't know the full story on Fred Cooper. I should have Nevin tell me.
Yeah, he's in the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah,
over at Waterloo there, and that's who would have thought that Nevin would have that kind of wrestling blood in him. I mean,
yeah, really, and still want to get out there in a silly little pair of green shorts and bounce a ball around.
That's right. He's a big basketball guy.
Yeah, he is a big basketball guy. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's. The Fort Dodge has shown very well, and we compete hard in the state. When you figure, that some of the teams they have, if you match them up against schools our size, like the Marshalltowns, the Mason Cities,
Mason City,
we've been clobbering those people. The Sioux City schools. It's just when you got to go down and you got to play Ankeny Centennial or Waukee, and they've got to. They're twice the size of class than we are, and we have to play them. You're at a real disadvantage, and for us to be able to compete as well as we have with Coach Miller, some of his most recent teams, wow, it's impressive.
It is impressive.
It really is.
It is. Again, I give full credit to Matt Miller and his coaching staff. They've just done an outstanding job and brought that team along.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's kind of a big game for the Gales too. They've had a tough season, and so has Manson, but boy, it's always nice to finish off your year with a win.
Mm-hmm.
it just helps you build momentum for the next year. You feel better about yourself, and Coach Dillon over there is trying to build a program. He's trying to get more kids involved and interested in coming out. And one thing that really helps with that is winning. And so to finish off your year with a win would be a great thing for the Gales, and hopefully
this is it for them, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep, I believe so.
Alex told me that Eagle Grove quit halfway through the season. They only had 12 kids out for football.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
they
realize
just
that.
quit.
Oh, that's too bad.
That is too bad.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
too bad because the other team then doesn't get to play. That's what's
a bye,
unfortunate.
Yeah. Well,
so, but
I understand that you only got 12 kids out.
Oh yeah,
and they got to play both sides of the ball all game. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Oh yeah.
It's funny, gosh, when you and I were kids, I mean, they were totally different era, baby boom
Yep.
era, of course. I mean, all the schools were full. I mean,
That's right.
I mean,
I had in Humboldt, we had 30 seniors out.
30, really?
30 seniors
Wow.
at Humboldt High School my senior year. We had we that was kind of how things. If you were a guy out, you're kind of expected to play football.
Yes, you were.
And
go out there and get your teeth knocked
we had
out.
a great class and
Mhm.
and a good strong program back then, and it's just kind of the way it was. It's different now. You got to work. Coaches have to work, and this is where Coach Miller does a great job. You have to go out and recruit kids to come out for football now. You've got to.
That's weird,
You
isn't
got to
it?
sell yourself. You got to sell your program. He does an interesting thing. He does a signing. I think it's with 8th graders. He has a college signing day, but it's for 8th graders that sign that they're going to go out for football the next year. And
really,
yeah, he kind of imitates the college signing concept, and it's really a kind of an innovative thing that gets kids fired up to be a Dodger football player. So kudos to him and the work that he does to get kids out and keep them motivated, keep them feeling good about being a Dodger. You bet.
Well, the culture has changed too. Gosh, I remember my fresh off high school football coach. He wouldn't even let us take our helmets off in practice, and then
Right.
This was in August too. We got
Yep.
preseason.
Oh, yeah.
practice. And don't take your helmets off, and don't get a drink of water
That's
until
right.
practice is over.
Exactly.
Jesus, by the time practice was over, you were fighting over the water
Yeah.
fountain. There was about a duke out right there by the water fountain.
Yeah.
That was an old thing.
That's the way it used to be, and then if you were sweating, they wanted you to take salt pills. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
To replace your salt. But it was, those days, now you wouldn't think of doing that with water. I mean, it's too, but.
They got
and-
water on the sideline now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But they do away with, they did away with 2-a-days, prior to the start of the season.
I didn't know that. We had 2-a-days. That was murder.
Yeah.
I wasn't a good athlete anyway.
Yeah.
I was really kind of a tackling dummy for a while, and then I moved over to blocking dummy.
And now you're just a dummy,
now,
right?
now I'm just a dummy.
That's right.
See, if that's on your resume, get into talk radio.
There you go.
Get into talk radio. I mean, really, you stop and look around. There's Glenn Beck. I mean, Beck made $25 million a year.
I know.
He's a drooling idiot. Russia's a pretty smart guy. Russia's a pretty smart guy.
You talk about football. This is going to be, of course, the Cyclones this week have a bye, which comes at a good time. It comes at a good time, but maybe it doesn't because they're hot right now. That game that they played against West Virginia was something else. I mean, it's not only did they beat the number 6 ranked team in this country, but they dominated them. They embarrassed them.
Mhm.
And sometimes when you really got it rolling, the last thing you want is a bye week, because you want to keep that momentum going. But it also helps you get healthy, and so they're off. The Hawkeyes have another big home game, and with Maryland, and if they played extremely well and beat a pretty decent Indiana team last week, easily, and so it'll be an interesting game with Maryland because Iowa, believe it or not, we're talking about Iowa's passing game this year. That's just hard to believe, but they're having a lot of success in the air right now, and yet they're predicting tomorrow at Kinnick Stadium to have wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour.
Wow.
And so, And Maryland, all they do is run the ball, and they run it very well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Hawks do in that kind of environment with if they're fighting a 45-mile-an-hour wind and so they're going to have a running game tomorrow, and they're going to face a good running game with Maryland, probably the best running game they'll see all year. Maryland's running game ran all over Texas the first game of the year. People forget, Texas right now is ranked 7th in the nation, and Maryland beat them the first game of the year.
Did they really?
Yeah. And so it's kind of funny how Maryland, even though they beat Texas, they just haven't had much respect. And I think they're 4-2. And one of those losses is to Ohio State, I believe. So, I mean, they're a good football team. It'll be interesting to see if the Hawks are going to have to bring their A game again tomorrow to beat a good Maryland team. But, interesting enough, Mike, I was looking on ESPN today, and Kirk Herbstreit, with ESPN, and he went through and picked the top 8 one-loss teams in the country and said he rated them 1 through 8 as to who has the most potential of making the playoffs. Okay. And Georgia was number 1.
Okay.
Followed by, I don't know, somebody, Clemson maybe, and there was other outstanding programs in there. Florida was in there.
Alabama.
Alabama was undefeated. These are teams with 1 loss.
Oh.
1 loss teams this year. If you have 1 loss, what are your chances of getting in? And he rated the top 8 teams. Number 7 was Iowa.
Really?
Yeah. He had Iowa ranked number 7.
Herbstreit did that?
Yeah.
The old Ohio State man? All right.
And then number 8 was somebody pretty darn good he had behind Iowa. I can't remember who it was now, but that really surprised me that he was giving Iowa that much respect. But
the last 2 games, the Hawkeyes have looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't think the first couple of games of the year. I thought, here we go again.
We didn't have much of an offense, if you remember those. Defense was looking good. And, right now our defense is still banged up. We've got 2 true freshman cornerbacks playing. And and then we've got 2 reserve linebackers that are playing still because we've got 2 starters out at linebacker and 2 cornerbacks out. But yet those people, Ferentz has always been known for having teams with that next man in concept,
Yeah.
And it seemed to work most of the time. And they're certainly in that position right now with their defense. So hopefully their defense will be tested tomorrow, and hopefully they're up for the test because Maryland's going to run the ball. They've got like 2 or 3 outstanding running backs. And if I remember right, they've got a quarterback that's fast and runs as well. They don't throw up much. I think they average like 90 yards a game passing, but they average a lot of yards a game rushing. And so we'll have to see what happens, but it'll be it should be interesting. But if the Hawks can keep winning, you never know if Wisconsin has to lose another game, but they still have to play Ohio State.
Yes, they do.
And
Ohio State will beat them too.
Yeah. Although Ohio State's kind of struggling right now.
They are.
Minnesota gave Ohio State a heck of a game. Ohio State's defense is not as they got all these 4- and 5-star athletes out there, but their defense is pretty mediocre.
Yeah, they lost that Bosch kid.
Yes, Bosa.
Bosa. Bosa.
And they claim that just really tore the heart right out of their defense, and it looks like it because Minnesota put up a lot of yards on Ohio State last week.
I wonder if all that controversy with Urban Meyer and what he knew about this wife-beating coach that he had on staff, I wonder how that affected him.
I don't think it probably affected the players all that much. I don't think that's the case at all. But Ohio State's got an explosive offense, and it's still it's still Ohio State. And what the heck, they're ranked 2nd in the country, I think now.
Right.
So. This
doesn't look, and I've watched them a couple of times. I've never been an Ohio State fan. Back to the Woody Hayes days. Woody had something against Iowa. I know he didn't like Forrest Evashevsky going way back, into the 50s. But Ohio State always used to just throttle us. They always had great teams. They always had great. This one doesn't look like a great team. This Ohio State team doesn't look like one of the old school, even just a few years ago.
Right.
it doesn't look like one of the really good teams.
Yeah, their offense is pretty darn good, but yeah, you're right. Their defense is not up to the normal Ohio State defensive standard.
Well, we have another coach joining the game here. This is Dr. Jim Meyer, who graduated from the University of Michigan. He tells us that Michigan versus Michigan State is tomorrow. That's absolutely correct. That's in East Lansing. Coach Harbaugh hasn't beaten either Michigan State University or OSU.
That's right.
As a coach, the Michigan fans are anxiously awaiting a win.
Yeah,
against their biggest rival.
Yeah.
So and that could happen. Harbaugh's got a pretty good Michigan team out there.
He does.
I think the Michigan fans have been a little bit disappointed in Harbaugh.
Well, they thought he was going to be the second coming.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, Michigan is looking good. They seem to get better every week, and this quarterback that they've got now is playing well. And Dr. Meyer is right. It's a big game in Michigan because Michigan State now is finally playing up to the expectations people had all along for them. They had the big victory last week, and so it'll be a big game. And Harbaugh, I think, is 0-5 against Michigan State. And
is 0-5.
Yeah.
No.
And so this is a big game for Michigan. And I say that because Michigan, wouldn't it be fun if Michigan could run the table and then end up playing Ohio State at the end of the year for the championship of the East?
Yeah.
What a big game that would be. I mean, that's obviously a huge rivalry anyway.
Remember the 10-year war?
Yeah.
We had Bo and Woody Hayes always going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, it was just that would be a fun game. And I'm pulling for Michigan. I really am.
I'm pulling for him as well, not because Jim's listening and Jim went there.
No, I am, but I don't like D'Antoni from Michigan State.
I'm not that crazy about D'Antoni either. I know Kirk Cousins, with his connection to Fort Dodge, was a Michigan State quarterback. As a matter of fact, I was at Kinnick Stadium when Cousins came to town with Michigan State, and they were 5-0, and Iowa got off to a little bit of a bad start. And the Hawkeyes just crushed them.
Crushed them. You're right.
And there was a small contingent of Michigan State people who came down expecting to see a blowout, and it was a blowout the other way.
Yeah.
And the Hawkeye crowd was merciless. They kept yelling, "Overrated, overrated." And it was quite an afternoon.
Well, I remember a couple of years ago, Iowa went 12-0, and we played Michigan State in the conference championship game. And we had a chance of winning that game. It was a tough game, and Michigan State pulled it out at the end. And then afterwards, the way they acted and the way D'Antoni acted, his quarterback Cook embarrassed the university. He jerked the MVP trophy out of the hands of Archie Griffin or somebody. It was horrible. And
what?
Yeah. And D'Antoni got up.
I remember that.
Oh yeah, this was two or 3 years ago when we went 12-0. And D'Antonio got up there. He's got that smug smile on his face and talking about how great his team was. Did not say one good thing about Iowa, who probably should have beat him.
They should have beat him. The Hawkeyes should have beat him.
And he just dished Iowa. And that guy just, I can't stand that man. I find him to be very cocky, arrogant, and
needlessly
very disrespectful.
It's not like Michigan State's national champions anytime soon.
Right.
I felt the same way. I think I've told you this story. I probably beat people to death with my stories, repeating them over and over. But a few years ago, when the day I got married, Nebraska beat Iowa 57-0. That was just, in Nebraska in the 70s, Nebraska was.
That should have been an omen for you, Mike.
It was. It was. And, Nebraska and Oklahoma, they were the dogs back then. They were the top dogs, absolutely. Barry Switzer in Oklahoma.
Sure.
And Tom Osborne, Nebraska. So for the very first time, I'm going to see Iowa and Nebraska play live. And we're leading halfway through the third quarter by 17 points. And old cautious Kurt goes into his zone defense thing, his flex defense, prevent defense. And Nebraska comes back and beats us.
Yeah.
Now, that's bad enough.
Yeah.
But the Nebraska athletic director at the time fired Bo Pelini.
Yeah.
After the game, even though Nebraska had come back and won, because he says in the end you really have to look at where Iowa is. They came back and beat Iowa, but they probably shouldn't have been that far behind in the first place. So we're going to fire Bo Pelini.
Yeah.
And I bet wherever Bo Pelini is right now, he's smiling because
Yeah.
Nebraska is 0-6.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they've
Oh.
sucked for a few years now.
And I think he's still getting paid by Nebraska.
He probably is. Yeah.
I think he is. He's
You want to talk about arrogance? That's arrogance. I mean, not only the athletic director at the time, but the fact that he would fire Pelini. Oh, and Pelini never lost, or he won 9 games every year he was there.
Yeah.
And all the coaches, or the 2 coaches subsequent to Pelini, have been disasters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this includes Scott Frost here as well.
Well,
And
but yeah,
he might turn that around. He's a heck of a coach.
Yeah, he will. I think. I mean, hopefully not totally around. We don't want to see that, but
No.
they'll be much improved. But I think
yours, Nebraska. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but Pelini was kind of always an embarrassment on the sideline.
He was. He was
and-
not a Midwestern guy. You know?
Well, and he was just, the way he acted on the sidelines. I think a lot of Nebraska people were embarrassed by it, and they got tired of him.
They
And,
did. He wasn't a good fit. It was
no,
like when Earl Bruce was coach at Ohio State. There he was on the sidelines, after Woody Hayes, and he's got this bowler type fedora on. He's got a fedora on and the brim is all up all the way around, and he looks kind of like a dumpy guy. He's a great coach. He did a great job at Ohio State, but they fired him for not looking the part of a great coach.
Yeah, well, there's some programs where 9 wins a year won't cut it for him.
I guess not. Nebraska's probably, oh God, if we could just win 9 games. Randy Coleman's our guest, and we're talking sports.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
It's 4:33, 67 degrees. News is next.
Loffersweiler Funeral Home is pleased to announce the addition of our crematory. I'm Luke Loffersweiler. The addition of our on-site crematory is another example of how we consistently exceed expectations and deliver a standard of service that is 100% guaranteed. At Loffersweilers, we're honored to give your family our assistance and expertise, taking care of even the smallest details before, during, and after the funeral, so you can begin the healing process. We're Loffersweiler Funeral Home, Fort Dodge, a trusted friend of the family for over 160 years.
Buying flooring can be a tough decision, especially when you're just not sure how it's going to look in your home. What if you don't like it? Oops. That's why it pays to see me, Dean Sternberg, at Jim's Carpet One Floor and Home. Come see us and ask about the Carpet One Beautiful Guarantee. If you don't love your new Carpet One carpet, hardwood, vinyl, tile, or laminate, we will replace it free, including installation. Get a floor you're guaranteed to love and ask about the Beautiful Guarantee at Jim's Carpet One Floor and Home, Fort Dodge.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The Iowa National Guard reports a soldier has died in a swimming accident. Radio Iowa's Dar Danielson reports.
Guard spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Mike One says 19-year-old Private First Class Matthew Cox of Leon was swimming with 4 other soldiers at a beach at the Naval Station Guantanamo Bay Tuesday. One says Cox was overpowered by a strong current and went under the water. Rescuers pulled his body out Wednesday afternoon. Cox was born in Des Moines and was homeschooled. He enlisted in the Iowa Army National Guard on October 11th of 2017 and was a military police officer with the 186 MP Company. He deployed to Cuba in July of 2018. Funeral arrangements are pending. Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson.
Vermont Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will be in Fort Dodge this Sunday. He's joining 4th District U.S. House candidate J.D. Scholten at a town hall at Iowa Central Community College. The town hall event is from 11:30 to 12:30 at the Biohealth Science Auditorium at Iowa Central. Sanders and Scholten will be holding a discussion focusing on Social Security and issues impacting seniors. The president of Social Security Works, John Bowman, will also speak. Sanders and Scholten will also be speaking at a rally in Sioux City at Morningside College on Saturday from 5:30 to 7. And after their appearance in Fort Dodge on Sunday, Scholten and Sanders will speak at a rally in Ames on Sunday from 4 to 5:30 at Iowa State University. Iowa's unemployment rate in September stayed at 2.5%, unchanged from August. Iowa Workforce Development spokesperson Corey Kelly says only Hawaii has a lower jobless rate, which rose to 2.2% last month. According to Kelly, it's a very challenging time for Iowa businesses that are trying to hold on to employees.
Normally, when the unemployment rate ticks down, you see wages increase. So there's a lot of competition out there.
The IWD report shows the total number of working Iowans increased to 1,644,400 in September. That's 1,900 higher than August.
Total non-farm employment remains up 17,600 jobs versus last September. So goods producing sectors continue to fuel annual growth and contributed 14,300 jobs over the past 12 months.
There were 41,800 Iowans listed as unemployed in September. That's down from 50,000 1 year ago. In local sports, Fort Dodge football is on the road at Marshalltown tonight with radio coverage on 92.1. The Eagles starting at 6:45. A win tonight over the 4-4 Bobcats would put the Dodgers at 7-2 to end the regular season and could give Fort Dodge a home playoff game. Offensive coordinator Nick Mosier told me how he plans to attack the Bobcats defense.
We'll just do what we've been doing. We've got areas that we think we can have some success. I think we can have some success running the ball. I think we can have some success throwing the ball. But we've got to get Dasan going. We've got to be able to get Dasan going running the ball. We've got to be able to get Dasan going with catching the ball. If you get Tyson Kershaw going early in the game, I think he's a lot better for you than waiting.
St. Edmund looks to end the season with a victory over Manson Northwest Webster at Dodger Stadium. Games at 7 with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7. South Central Calhoun faces rival Pocahontas area with the district title on the line. Radio coverage is at 6:45 on 105.9 The Beach. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. December corn closed down 3 3/4 at $3.67. March down 3 1/2 at $3.79 1/2. May down 3 1/4 at $3.87. July down 3 cents at $3.92 3/4. November soybeans down 6 3/4 at $8.56 3/4. January down 7 1/4 at $8.70 1/2. March down 7 cents at $8.83 1/2. May down 6 3/4 at $8.97. December wheat closed up 1 3/4 at $5.14 3/4. Soybean meal down $3.20 a ton at $3.13.10. October live cattle down 82 cents at $1.12 1/4. December down 40 cents at $1.1677. October feeder cattle down 60 cents at $1.5465. November down 32 at $1.54.10. December lean hogs down 70 cents at $51.60. February down $1.20 at $59.02. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Sunny skies and calm this afternoon with a high of 66. Northwesterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows level off around 39. 46 tomorrow. Lots of sunshine outside. Dry and turning much warmer Sunday and Monday with highs in the upper 50s. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 68.
From the Fox Business Network, a choppy week of trading on Wall Street with a mixed finish for the major averages. Among the gainers today, household goods makers, while healthcare companies and home builders were lower, with the Dow closing up 65 points, the Nasdaq down 36, S&P 500 down a point. And shares of Procter & Gamble rallying and closing up near 9% after the consumer products company booked its strongest quarterly sales growth in 5 years, driven by gains in the beauty segment. And Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos is planning on announcing the finalist for the company's second new home by the end of the year. And according to the Wall Street Journal, it could be one of 5 cities. Over the past couple of months, Amazon executives have visited New York City, Newark, New Jersey, and Chicago. Additionally, the company has been following up on other locations, including Miami and the Washington, D.C. area. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Hillary Barsky.
What gives one company the edge over another? Maybe it's not one thing. Maybe it's taking care of lots of things that help a business run smoothly. In other words, Cintas. Cintas has products that help your people stay safe and apparel programs that convey the right image. They service fire protection equipment, deliver and stock restroom supplies, and make sure facilities are clean and ready. Because when all those things work together, you're in business.
Oh, I'm ready!
Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
I'm Ann Meyer. After 31 years as a nurse, I've seen it all. I know Iowans because I've taken care of them and kept them healthy. I've also seen where our state can do better, like health care that's affordable and readily available, mental health and veterans care services for those who are too often forgotten, and encourage businesses to invest in Iowa's second-to-none workforce. I'm Ann Meyer, and from the exam room to the state capitol, I'll never stop working for Iowans.
Paid for by Ann Meyer for State House.
Alpha Media Fort Dodge cares. We care about our community. We care about you. And we care about our four-legged friends. Style and Pooch Dog Rescue is a place that we also care about. Style and Pooch Dog Rescue is a nonprofit facility, and they work very hard to find the perfect forever homes for their dogs. This is no easy task. It takes a lot to keep Style and Pooch running, and that's where you come in. Style and Pooch is in desperate need of cleaning supplies, dog food and treats, dog toys, and much more. You can see a full list of what is needed at yourfortdodge.com. Monetary donations will also go a long way for things like vet care and funds to get a new building. All donations can be brought to our studios at 200 North 10th Street until Wednesday, October 31st. And then we will take those donations to Style and Pooch ourselves. To see all the dogs you'll be helping, go to styleandpooch.weebly.com. Join us in helping raise funds and donations for all of our furry friends at Style and Pooch Dog Rescue in Clare. Thank you in advance from all of us at Alpha Media Fort Dodge.
You've heard that freedom isn't free. So what does it take? It takes countless hours away from family and friends. Sometimes it takes the ultimate sacrifice. I'm Merle Bloom from Mike's Pest Control. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all veterans and enlisted men and women, past and present, who have served our country with pride. I'd also like to give acknowledgement to our local, state, and federal law enforcement and EMS officers who serve and protect us with courage and dedication. Thank you for everything you do. Mike's Pest Control, Fort Dodge.
What does building a better bank look like? It starts with building Capital One cafes, warm, inviting places that feel nothing like a typical bank, where you can open an account with no fees or minimums in 5 minutes. And you'll always find people ready to help you, not sell you. Welcome to Banking Reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One N.A. member FDIC. Cafes available in select locations. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
I used to post to job boards,
only to sort through tons of resumes,
just to find a few candidates for
my sales team,
my hair salons.
That old process was not smart.
Then I went to ZipRecruiter.
Its technology scans resumes for me to find the right people
and actively invites them to apply.
So I get qualified candidates fast. Smart.
See why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. Try it now for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Based on Trustpilot rating of hiring sites with over 1,000 reviews.
So you're a winner on KVFD. Congratulations. Here's a few things you need to know. Prizes and gifts awarded to listeners are provided for promotional consideration. Winners are limited to 1 per household. Winners must give their own legal name. Callers are sometimes taped for later broadcast. We reserve the right to refuse prizes if rules are broken. All prizes must be picked up within 10 days. We are not responsible for taxes or fees associated with prizes won. Winners may be required to show ID. Got it? Good. Thanks for listening to the station that made you what you are today. A winner, KVFD.
Divine Intervention at AM 1400 KVFD, where Fort Dodge talk.
Please meet Katie. Katie says she needs to tell her fiance the truth before their baby is born. Katie, what's going on?
Well, I'm 4 months pregnant, Jerry,
Yeah.
and I've been cheating on him with another woman.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. Yes. I suppose it's safe to assume that person who was speaking on the Jerry Springer show is going to support Hubble. What do you think, Randy? Randy Coleman's our guest. We're talking
I got
sports.
no comment.
Yeah, I know you know. I shouldn't even said that because I don't want to draw you into those sort of things. I'll take the shots for that. But
Yeah.
I think J.D. Schulten, the guy running against Congressman Steve King's in town tomorrow. Somebody call me and tell me for sure if it's tomorrow or the next day. But I think it's tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Usually political candidates like to take Sunday off. So 515-955-1400 if you know for sure when J.D. Schulten's going to be here in Fort Dodge Saturday or Sunday. Iowa Central, has got a great game coming up. They're going to play Iowa Falls. And, boy, that's top flight football.
Yeah.
That's top flight
They had
football.
a big win last week.
Yes, they did.
And they're playing well. They've got they're fun to watch. They've got some real talent out there, big athletes, and
that's right.
And the new coach is doing a great job.
Great job. AM 1400 KVFD, you're on the air.
Hey, Mike, it's Dave Flattery.
David, what are you doing, pal?
Hi, Randy.
Hi,
Just
Dave.
coming back from the Highway 20 ribbon cutting in Holstein.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right. Today was the day. I had to work or I'd have gone over, but that's a great day. for Fort Dodge and the
Yes, it is.
western part of the state. That is a huge economic boon. Who was all over there speaking? I think Congressman King was there, wasn't he?
Congressman King, the head of the Iowa DOT, his name escapes me. Shirley Phillips from Fort Dodge,
Sure.
who is the president of the Highway 20 coalition, whatever they call them. And she's
The
been involved
association,
with
yeah.
that for years.
Yes, she has.
Let's see, who else spoke? The president of the highway or the DOT commission or whatever spoke to, of course, Congressman King, and he stands up there for 10, 15 minutes without any prepared speech, and he just right off the cuff, just nails it. They recognized Paul Trambino. He was their former DOT director.
Yep.
Of course, he's now with McClure Engineering.
Right.
And they recognized Floyd Magnuson, Buck Bokelman, for all the years of service that they provided for the Highway 20 extension. So
I'm
it was
glad
a
they
great
did
day.
that.
It was packed, standing room only. It was packed.
I
We had
believe it.
we had a good delegation from Fort Dodge. Supervisor Mark Campbell was there. Former Senator Jim Kirsten was there. City Councilman Kim Allstott was there. Steve also, he was a member of the coalition, Highway 20.
Right,
Bob
Steve.
Singer is actually speaking later on tonight at the reception.
The exotic singer?
Former supervisor. Kelly Allstead from the Gulf Alliance. Chad Schaefer from the city. So we had a pretty good representation there.
That's great.
That is great. You say there's an event tonight that the exotic Frenchman Bob Singer is speaking at?
That's what he told me. Yeah, he's speaking there.
Where-
Jim Augustine and Margot Augustine were there. You remember the late Ed Augustine? He was a big proponent and backer of Highway 20. Went to all the meetings as well.
Yes.
So that was good to see them.
Dave, I'm trying to think. When did we start? When did that whole conversation about making Highway 20 a 4-lane? When did that start? Do you
They said
recall?
it started in 1951.
51? Holy cow!
1951.
I thought it was
Yeah.
actually a few years earlier, but okay, I'll go with 51, 67 years. I mean, that's a long time.
Wow.
Oh, Lieutenant Governor spoke. His name escapes me too.
Adam
Tim
Gregg.
Reynolds was supposed to be there, but apparently Vice President Pence is going to be in the state, so Kim Reynolds is meeting with him. Apparently, that's more important.
Yeah, I just don't agree with that at all. I don't. Pence can visit anytime.
Yeah.
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 I met JD Stolten, Randy, too, for your information. And apparently, he's going to be at Fort Dodge tomorrow at 11 during the Hawks. Don't the Hawks play at 11? What time do the Hawks play?
They played at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. So he'll
Yeah.
get a good turnout.
Oh, why was he there? This I don't think he had anything to do with Highway 20 being completed at all.
He's campaigning.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's tacky. That's tacky. I think Dave, I just want to throw this by you because I just got to get your reaction. Do you suppose J.D. Schulten's running for Congress because he needs a job?
I don't know. Sure.
You're letting me down, Flattery.
Senator Cranbrink was there too. I forgot to mention him. I failed to mention him. He was there.
Okay, Tim was there. Okay.
I actually know J.D. Schulten's dad. J.D. Schulten's dad was the grad assistant when I was at Iowa State playing baseball, and he was a longtime coach at Mason City Newman, and then became the grad assistant at Iowa State. I want to say he was there for 2 or 3 years. And I introduced myself to him, and he said he was born one of those years that his dad was the grad assistant at Iowa State. So don't know the kid, but he was there.
I think his dad went on to be the head coach at Morningside, if I'm not.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and Schulten played minor league baseball himself. So anyway, I don't. King was, like I said, King was excellent in his delivery and his recognition of Fort Dodge as a whole and their contribution to the success of Highway 20 across the state.
Well, J.D. Schulten had challenged King to a couple of debates. I think Schulten's lucky that he didn't debate King. King refused, but that just means he thinks he's got it in the bag. I mean, J.D. Schulten may be a nice young man, and he may be the son of a popular baseball coach or whatever, but he has there's nothing in his life experience that qualifies him to be a congressman. Period.
Yeah,
there really isn't.
Right. Oh, Helen Miller was there too. I forgot to recognize her. So we
Good
had a
for
pretty good
Helen. delegation.
Yeah.
Good for was the Scrapster there?
I did not see him. Now, again, there was a lot of people there. The place was packed, and he could have been there. So, you know what? I just will say he was there because he'll be hurt if I don't say anything about it.
Oh, I just got a text. Tom Latham was there. Former Congressman Latham was there.
Tom Latham was there. Former Congressman Tom Latham was there. Yeah.
Was any of the local candidates there, like Ann Meyer or Dr. Srinivas?
Ann Meyer was there. Yep.
Okay.
Ann Meyer was there. Forgot to mention her as well.
Okay. All right.
But again, I saw her right at the end, so it was a pretty good delegation there from the local area.
Boy, I'll tell you, that Highway 20 thing did go on forever.
It did.
As long as I've been living in Fort Dodge, and that's a long, long time, we've been trying to get that Highway 20 thing done. And there were some good years and there were some bad years.
My brother Danny tells a story. Randy, you might appreciate this. Back in 1967, St. Ed's was playing in the CYO tournament over in Sioux City, and St. Ed's had like John Perkins and I forget who else they had, but my brother Mike was on the bench anyway. We're heading over to Sioux City to see him play in the CYO tournament, and my mother apparently had mentioned that someday there'll be a 4-lane highway cutting across the state. Well, someday 51 years later. So,
wow.
Well, it happened. That's all we can say.
Yeah.
You know, and I would like to point out that if Senator Kreinbrink hadn't have voted for that gas tax increase, I don't know if we'd have got this done. I mean, it's not him specifically, but there was a lot of pressure on him.
That's right.
Not to vote for a tax increase on 10 cent per gallon gas tax increase, and he took unholy hell when he voted to increase it. And and I'll tell you, the people who criticized him were wrong, and they will be proven wrong over and over and over again in the future.
Yeah.
You know, Bob Singer tells me that he was the one person that was critical to the extension of Highway 20 and beyond, because he had, like you said, he voted for that gas tax and that got it done. And so, you know, Singer credits Tim Kreinbrink getting it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we had to have a change down in Des Moines. We had to get rid of Gronstall. I mean, he might.
Bob will tell you that and I see it today, just experiencing it now, coming across the state here, is that traffic has picked up substantially, and Bob indicates that traffic counts are way up since every stage of the improvements.
Dave, do you know, do they have it now? You know, when you go through those little towns just east of Sioux City, is it now you don't have to stop at any lights or anymore on Highway 20, do you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
All the way to Dubuque, you don't have to. You can get in the car in Fort Dodge and drive to Dubuque. That's 170 miles, and you don't have to stop at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The only danger that I see is if you are passing in the left lane and there's local traffic that wants to turn off on a gravel road, they slow down a lot. So you got to be careful there. So for those people that like to drive in the left lane, get over to the right.
Yeah,
right.
Well,
that's
you know,
like you, Mike. You like to drive in the left lane the whole time.
No, I don't. I'm out there in the Montfort lane. I'm passing everybody in sight, buddy.
Well, it's a good day for Fort Dodge. I'm telling you that. And Northwest Iowa,
yes.
Highway 20 opened up, and a lot of credit goes to a lot of people over all those years.
You know, Dave, did you see Steve King's editorial in the Register today?
No.
He wrote a long editorial about Highway 20 and kind of his involvement in it. And, you know, he was patting himself on the back, of course, like all politicians do. But he made a good point. He talked about how he got a federal earmark, which was huge for that project. And he had it set up so it had to be spent in Northwest Iowa. So the folks in Eastern Iowa couldn't get their money on it. I thought that was kind of interesting. I wonder if he even mentioned that today at your event. But yeah, because he was worried, I'm going to get this federal tax money, but everybody in Eastern Iowa is going to get their hands on it. And he wanted to make sure, because if you recall, Highway 20 was done quite a long time before we could get it done in Western Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Eastern Iowa was completely done.
I say it's a good day for Fort Dodge, but it's a good day for that whole region.
Yes.
I mean, Darrell Watts from Eagle Grove is there celebrating. There's people from, the region like Cherokee. There's all of Northwest Iowa is there. Wells Blue Bunny is a major sponsor of this event. They're from Lamar. So everybody that is in part of that region for economic development sees how important this is. Guys, I got to run. Have a good week.
All right. Hey, thanks for calling in, Dave. Hey, take care. That's
See you, Dave.
City Councilman Dave Flattery, little report there about Highway 20. Well, that's a good thing. Anyway, we're talking sports with Randy Coleman. We only got a few minutes left now, but I'm glad Dave was able to call in with that information. So you got a prediction for tomorrow? Are you going to pick Iowa over Maryland, or?
I'm picking Iowa by 3 over Maryland. I think it's going to be a tough game.
You think it's going to be that close?
I do.
I was going to go Iowa by a touchdown.
You might be right, but I think it'll
we
be a
both
tough
could
game.
be wrong.
Oh yeah,
Maryland might beat them.
Yeah,
who
absolutely.
knows?
We were talking with some people today at lunch about usually Iowa has one really bad game where they lay an egg, and we haven't had that this year.
Not yet, but I'm expecting.
And I'm hoping it's not this game, but we'll see. But I hope they can pull it out and keep things going.
Nevin's real high in the Iowa quarterback, and I know what he's talking
Stanley,
about.
yeah.
Yeah, Stanley got 6'4", 240, 250 in there somewhere. Big guy. But he's still not as accurate as he needs to be if he's going to the pros.
Yeah.
Nevin thinks he's a pro-sized quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. That's all true. He's a big I watched him especially last week, and he was pushing tacklers out of the way. He was so big.
He had a heck of a game last week, 6 touchdown passes.
Oh, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, he's getting better every week. He started off the season in a questionable fashion. But his last couple of games, he had a great game against Minnesota, too. He made one bad mistake with the interception, but other than that, he had a great game at Minnesota too. So if he keeps playing like that, it'll be a good thing for the Hawkeyes. You bet.
Are we going to have our ground game going? Is the Hawkeyes going to have our ground?
It'll
game?
be interesting to see if we can get it going or not. They've had, I think they get the Ivory Martin Kelly back, and we got 2 other guys, the Sargent kid along with Young, are good solid running backs. So. We'll see. I hope they can, but if you can open up in the air a little bit, that loosens up the defense so you can run the ball, and they'll have to have a balanced attack tomorrow against a pretty darn good Maryland team.
Yes, they will. St. Ed's in town tonight. Are you thinking of going to that game, or are you going to go out tonight, or what are you going to do?
No, I'm not sure yet. I haven't talked to my wife if we're going to go out to eat, but I may. I only live a block from the stadium, so oftentimes I'll run over there and catch the game or part of a game, and so we'll see. It's always the Gail Manson games are always fun games because no matter what the records are, there's a rivalry there.
And Boston's going to the World Series.
Yep, they are, and I think the Brewers play tonight. They're kind of down. I think it's 3-2, aren't they?
I believe it is. Yeah,
and to the Dodgers. So that'll be interesting.
If it's Boston, Los Angeles, it'll be tough for me to pick who I'm going to root for in this series. But I think I'll go with. I probably go with Boston. I haven't made up my mind yet, though. Anyway, Randy Coleman's our guest. Thank you, Randy.
You bet, Mike.
All right, you're listening to AM 1400 KVFT, the voice of Fort Dodge. Thank you so much for listening. By the way, it's 5:00 in the afternoon. The news is next. Hey, talk to you Monday. Thanks again.
It's everything digital on the Kim Commando Show every Saturday from 11 to 2 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD, Fort Dodge.
Still on their way. I'm Rich Dennison, Fox News. Thousands of Central American migrants currently near Mexico's southern border are working their way to the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is in Mexico City demanding officials in the country turn that caravan around.
Mexico has announced it will, when appropriate, return migrants coming through Mexico to their home countries. Secretary Pompeo says the U.S. and Mexico are working to address the issue.
We are quickly reaching a point which appears to be a moment of crisis. Record numbers of migrants.
The Mexican government is also coordinating with the United Nations Refugee Agency to help deal with refugees and migrants heading north from Central America.
Fox's Rich Edson at the State Department. A Russian woman's been charged with interfering in U.S. elections, including next month's midterms, through a social media effort designed to sway public opinion. It's believed to be the first federal case alleging Russian interference in this year's election. U.S. intelligence agencies recently issued a statement indicating they were concerned about efforts by Russia, China, and Iran to influence U.S. voters and policy. President Trump today explaining why he's reluctant to condemn the Saudi government over the disappearance and presumed murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul.
$450 billion worth of things ordered from a very rich country, Saudi Arabia. 600,000 jobs, maybe more than that. And it would be very hurtful to this country if we said, oh, we're not going to sell it to you.
The president is on a campaign swing through 3 western states. A Massachusetts state police trooper was stabbed several times today while trying to capture an 18-year-old who had fled a traffic stop. Officials say the teen was then shot by the trooper. Both are expected to recover from their injuries. The teen now expected to face several charges, including attempted murder. This is Fox News.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
The leaves are falling. While shopping for a new rake, you check your ADT security camera from your phone and see some kids with toilet paper and eggs approaching your property. Then you see what they see. Your ADT sign and outdoor camera and scurry away. Scarecrow service. Brought to you by ADT. Designing and installing a smart home just for you, backed by best-in-class 24/7 protection. Learn more at ADT.com. ADT, real protection. License information available at ADT.com.
U.S. stock.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The Iowa National Guard reports a soldier has died in a swimming accident. Radio Iowa's Dar Danielson reports.
Guard spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Mike One says 19-year-old Private First Class Matthew Cox of Leon was swimming with 4 other soldiers at a beach at the Naval Station Guantanamo Bay Tuesday. One says Cox was overpowered by a strong current and went under the water. Rescuers pulled his body out Wednesday afternoon. Cox was born in Des Moines and was homeschooled. He enlisted in the Iowa Army National Guard on October 11th of 2017 and was a military police officer with the 186th MP Company. He deployed to Cuba in July of 2018. Funeral arrangements are pending. Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson.
Vermont Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders will be in Fort Dodge this Sunday. He's joining 4th District U.S. House candidate J.D. Scholten at a town hall at Iowa Central Community College. The town hall event is from 11:30 to 12:30 at the Biohealth Science Auditorium at Iowa Central. Sanders and Scholten will be holding a discussion focusing on Social Security and issues impacting seniors. The president of Social Security Works, John Bowman, will also speak. Sanders and Scholten will also be speaking at a rally in Sioux City at Morningside College on Saturday from 5:30 to 7. And after their appearance in Fort Dodge on Sunday, Scholten and Sanders will speak at a rally in Ames on Sunday from 4 to 5:30 at Iowa State University. Iowa's unemployment rate in September stayed at 2.5%, unchanged from August. Iowa Workforce Development spokesperson Corey Kelly says only Hawaii has a lower jobless rate, which rose to 2.2% last month. According to Kelly, it's a very challenging time for Iowa businesses that are trying to hold on to employees.
Normally, when the unemployment rate ticks down, you see wages increase. So there's a lot of competition out there.
The IWD report shows the total number of working Iowans increased to 1,644,400 in September. That's 1,900 higher than August.
Total non-farm employment remains up 17,600 jobs versus last September. So goods producing sectors continue to fuel annual growth and contributed 14,300 jobs over the past 12 months.
There were 41,800 Iowans listed as unemployed in September. That's down from 50,000 1 year ago. In local sports, Fort Dodge football is on the road at Marshalltown tonight with radio coverage on 92.1. The Eagles starting at 6:45. A win tonight over the 4-4 Bobcats would put the Dodgers at 7-2 to end the regular season and could give Fort Dodge a home playoff game. Offensive coordinator Nick Mosier told me how he plans to attack the Bobcats defense.
We'll just do what we've been doing. We've got areas that we think we can have some success. I think we can have some success running the ball. I think we can have some success throwing the ball. But we've got to get Dasan going. We've got to be able to get Dasan going running the ball. We've got to be able to get Dasan going with catching the ball. If you get Tyson Kershaw going early in the game, I think he's a lot better for you than
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where dad is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is your show. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. James is with us in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey, James, how are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So my wife and I have paid off 94 of 120,000, and we can kind of see the finish line. Should hit it next summer. I need you to tell me, though, if the guy is waving a checkered flag or a white flag. And the reason I'm asking that is we're about $34,000 behind on making our mortgage caught up to a 15-year pace.
Sorry, no, you're not. You paid off 94 of 120.
Of obvious step 2 stuff, like student loans, car loans. Haven't started towards the mortgage yet.
Oh, that's not your mortgage.
Nope.
Okay. Well, what's the balance on your mortgage?
147.
Okay. And what's your household income?
Right around 100.
Good for you. You're doing great, man. You're killing it. Way to go. So what's your interest rate on your mortgage?
3.5. So there's no refi.
Yeah, you would not refi this. You'll just start paying extra on it when you get to baby step 6, and you'll probably pay it off in about 7 years, maybe 6.
So you would leave it back there, even though we started off with a 30-year. I wasn't sure if we should put that into 2 and finish that, get it caught up before we rolled into 3.
No.
Okay.
Because here's the thing: when you pay a 30 like a 15, in other words, if you calculate a 15-year payment and a 30-year payment, and the difference, if you just paid that extra on your 30 every month, it'll pay off in 15.
Okay.
You don't have to refinance to convert a 30 to a 15, particularly with a 3.5% interest rate in a 5% interest rate environment. You definitely don't want to lose that great rate you've got.
Yeah, there was no chance of refi. I was just wondering if we should just put that as a $34,000 cherry on top of our debt snowball. But
I see what you're saying. No, because all we're doing is just baby step 6 is pay extra on the house, and you're just going to chunk that. You're going to tear into that house. It's going to happen at about the same pace as if you put it into baby step 2.
Well, I can tell you that my wife is going to be very happy to hear that. She is just about tired of drawing out weekly menus and grocery shopping with penny pinching with a baby. And
yeah. Well, you need to get through with baby step 2. That's why we have baby step 6 where it is, and you need to get through with that. Get your emergency fund in place, and then you do 4, 5, and 6 at the same time. But you guys are you're on track. You're doing good work, and I think you're gonna. How old are you?
I am 33.
Yeah. I really think that you're probably going to have $1 million net worth before you're 45.
Well, I really, I love hearing that from you. And one thing that really resonated from when you've talked about being a young father and scared. And this summer we had our air conditioning go out, and it was so great to be ready for that. I mean, to write an $11,000 check with a baby, with a nursery that was 90 degrees, 3 years ago, I'd have never been that prepared. And thank you for that.
Yeah, you're doing great, man. You're going to be fine. Knock out that baby step 2 and move on through 3. And then 4, 5, 6 goes at the same time. And you're going to pay off that house in about the same time as if you had done it the way you were thinking about it. It really doesn't change the math that much to move the baby step the way you were moving it. Except that you're probably going to let your foot off the gas just a little bit, which you should do when you're in baby steps 4, 5, 6. But still, you're making 100. How fast you pay off 147? 5, maybe 6 years. That's about the standard that's going to work out on. You're landing right in a normal case study for us. So you're doing good. Doing really good. Christina is with us in Albany, New York. Hi, Christina. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I'm just getting ready to enter your classes. I took the first class on Saturday, and I'm hoping for some encouragement because I'm really super nervous that I'm not going to be able to do this.
Why?
I've been responsible for my family's finances since my husband and I became engaged in 2007 and been managing everything since then, and quite poorly, frankly.
Where is
He's here.
Okay. Is he going to the class too?
What's that?
Is he going to the class too?
He's going to be a week after next because
Good.
kids have soccer that he takes them to until then.
Okay. Well, it's online. You've got a membership, so he needs to go ahead and look at the lesson that you've been to so he doesn't get behind. Because this idea that you are the only grown up in the house ends today.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you guys work together on this. You can do it. What's your household income?
Almost 200, I would say. Mine is 106, and his is flexible. It changes on a weekly basis depending upon how many hours he works. But
Okay, so I'm sorry. Why in the world would somebody making $200,000 a year don't think they can make progress with money?
Because nobody's ever taught me how to do it, honestly. It's the concepts that I'm learning in your class and reading your book.
It's kind of like somebody just gave you a brand new Ferrari and nobody ever gave you driving lessons, and so it scared the crap out of you.
That's exactly correct.
Okay, I got it. That makes sense. It's very powerful stuff, this money, especially when you got 200 grand a year coming in. I mean, you can drive off into a serious ditch with 200 grand. So good.
Right.
How much debt you got?
Well, I have student loans of about 150, but I'm hoping those will be forgiven after 3 or 4 more years of public service.
I doubt it. No, I'm serious. 30,000 people have applied for public service loan forgiveness. 96 people have gotten it so far.
Oh, rats.
Yeah, it's not going real well. The government is not following through on that. So you might get it. I don't know. You're 3 to 4 more years before you get there, and you make 200 grand. No, I'd probably just pay the student loans off and be done with it. How much other debt have you got, not counting your house?
Not counting the house, we have I'm still in the process of tabulating it for class, but we have between 50 and 60 of consumer debt and a couple of vehicle loans.
Okay, so 50, 60 plus car plus student loans?
I think 50, 60 plus student loans plus house.
Oh, the cars are included in the 50 to 60.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So let's just kind of do some quick math for a second. All right. You make $200,000 a year. You've got $210,000 worth of debt. Okay.
Okay.
210 divided by 3 is what?
You have to do the math for me, Dave. That's why I'm calling you.
21 divided by 3 is 7. 70,000. Okay. 3 years, 70,000. You're 100% debt free, not counting your house, student loans, cars, and everything. Okay.
That would be life changing.
Well, but I think that's kind of wimpy. I think you'll do it faster than that.
Okay, I'll do whatever you say. I
Well, I
fully
mean, just
believe in you.
listen. If let's just pretend that you made $200,000 a year and you lived on 95, that'd give you 105, right?
Yes.
Not counting taxes. So I'm using round numbers here, but 105 a year for 2 years would be 210, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
So between 2 and 3 years, I want you out of debt. I want your husband lined up and helping you do this. You can do this. You're gonna be amazing because you got an amazing income. You're not dumb people. Dumb people don't make that kind of money. Well done. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. A common theme around here is teaching people how to make smart choices, whether it's with your money or with your business. You have to be intentional with every decision you make. As an example, if you're a business owner needing to hire new team members, don't waste your time searching job sites full of resumes that aren't right for the position you're hiring. The smart thing to do is to go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dave to hire the right person. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful matching technology scans thousands of resumes, identifies people with the right skills, education, and experience for your job, and actively invites them to apply so you get qualified candidates fast. And right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Dave. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dave. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Hey, this is Rachel Cruz. Dad has always drilled into us that you can buy quality things and still get a great deal. That's why I love Tuft & Needle mattresses. Tuft & Needle offers amazing mattresses for every budget. And now they have a brand new mattress called Mint. They took their best mattress and made it even better. It's incredible. Try Tuft & Needle for 100 nights risk-free at tn.com. That's tn.com. And remember, it ships for free. That's tn.com.
Jessica on Twitter asks if certifications or trade schools are a good alternative to college. Well, Jessica, they absolutely are. But even better is getting career-focused training from my friends at CareerStep. CareerStep offers training to quickly prepare you for a career in healthcare that will get you a job. You may even get to work from home. And get this, CareerStep helps with job placement. For a special offer, visit careerstep.com/Dave.
Radio Iowa News is presented by the Iowa Department of Public Safety Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau. Wearing a seatbelt increases your chances of surviving a crash by 45%. It only takes 2 seconds to buckle up.
I'm Pat Curtis. Vice President Mike Pence headlined a rally today in Des Moines for Republican Congressman David Young, who's in a tight race with Democratic challenger Cindy Axne. Pence praised Young for supporting President Trump's agenda in Congress.
And he's been there standing with this president every step of the way.
A report today from Iowa Workforce Development shows the state's jobless rate remains at an 18-year low.
The September unemployment report shows that Iowa's unemployment rate remained at 2.5%.
That's IWD spokesman Corey Kelly. Tonight's Mega Millions drawing is for a jackpot now estimated at $1 billion. Iowa Lottery Vice President Mary Neubauer says the jackpot is easily the game's biggest.
It has far eclipsed the previous record, which was $656 million.
This is Radio Iowa.
1 in 3 adults in America have pre-diabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this.